I don't know. It was just okay, but then they like completely changed it. And like the first game, like I print out some. It was like some Mythos card, looks like memory, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Just toss it." I'm like,
People suck.
so that's why I do not care about that part. But we are doing this. This is called the Faceless Expedition, cool. April 4th, 1931.
Doesn't appear to be a newspaper associated with it.
It's the prologue investigation. I know it shouldn't be the epilogue, but whatever.
Anyways, there's no newspaper for it, so...
What's the name of it again? Faceless?
The Faceless Expedition. Who knows?
1931?
1931. 31.
Back in time.
Well, there's a 37 and there's a 40.
Do you want the newspapers back? Oh, newspaper holder?
I feel like...
I mean, some of the old ones, but not the deep set.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that matches. You go from 29 to 30 to 40 to 37.
The Faceless Expedition is a somewhat lengthy investigation. We are leaving everything up to surprise, so for this reason, Armitage is absent with his usual advice, and you may continue with your investigation indefinitely.
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah,
You must-
pizza?
You must decide a good time to stop, so if you happen to go beyond day 7, keep track of the days on a separate piece of paper, or reset the time tracker back to day 1 morning. There is no specific newspaper for April 4th. However, it is possible that players need to know information from newspapers supplied in the base game of Mythos Tales to answer these questions. Alright, you guys ready?
It seems like a catch-all for...
This seems like this is going to be interesting. It's like we just made this really hard.
I mean, this whole pamphlet, you know, there's 23 pages.
There's QR codes.
Whoa, there's QR codes. Live readings of the introductions and solutions to Mythos Tales plus...
What?
So
live readings of the intro.
Oh, it's from the other one.
Who's
So.
reading it?
They did it with
Someone that they
the
paid
Kickstarter.
to
They
do
paid
it.
somebody, yeah. So they don't have it for this one.
Maybe like a famous
So they give the introduction solution.
like Neil Gaiman. It's like, hi, it's Neil Gaiman.
Oh wait, no, there is. Do you want me to QR code the?
Sure.
Who is it?
I don't know.
There's no reason to do it.
We're
It's
about to
not
be
a famous
surprised.
person.
It's not a famous person. Wow. What if they put what if this voice actor put a lot of passion into it?
I just
Abby doesn't
imagine
care.
it's
It's
someone
not
very
good enough for
tired
Abby.
of
It's
being
never good
designer.
enough.
Alright, that's it.
If it sounds like a tired game designer, I will do it. Yes.
I mean, it just QR codes the. Wait, let's make sure I scan.
Do QR
Make sure you do the introduction.
No, I just want to make sure I got the right one. I didn't
Can
like.
you read a QR code from like if it's like 3 stories up on a building?
Depends on how good the camera is, and if you get a good enough. It's all about just perfecting the
Mythos Tales bonus
Because there's a QR
investigation.
code in that French place.
The Faceless Expedition by Will Kenyon, Christopher Collins, and Brady Sadler. Introduction. Arkham is uncharacteristically beautiful this morning, filling you with unease. You unconsciously appraise the radiant glow of nearby blossoms, reaching eagerly towards the sun. And pleasantry takes root where moments ago you felt foreboding dread. It's a picturesque day, and your spirits cannot be tethered down. Your thoughts begin to drift to possible ways to pass the time on such a day, but something is nagging you. Ah, yes. Professor Armitage has requested your presence. Your normal punctuality deigns to keep him waiting. As you approach your mentor's office, you pause at hearing a peculiar melody. Empty whistling comes from within. Armitage is at it again, cheer in his heart. He is normally cheery. You reassure yourself, shaking an eerie, unbiting suspicion. The whistling ends abruptly when you enter his office. Ah, on time for a change, he says accusingly. Certainly, you respond, looking for sarcasm in his voice, but finding only carefree whimsy. I've never let you think to yourself, appalled by the presumption. Come in, please. Armitage beckons, his hand spinning upon his wrist like a top. You enter the room, promptly stopping short. What is that intoxicating smell? You exclaim in a language you don't even understand.
What?
Are you using perfume these days, Professor? Armitage chuckles as he closes the door and goes to his accustomed seat behind his sturdy desk. He then motions to a single plant in a large soapstone vase with a black smear across the base next to the open window, the source of the fragrance. A newly discovered cousin of the corpse flower, he intones, loaned to me by Dr. Watney at the university's botany department. Unusual that you think it smells good. Its smell is typically best described as rotten.
Why haven't you said it?
He leans back, steepling his fingers beneath his chin, all signs of pleasantry melting from his lined face. But that is not why I asked you here, though it may be related. Inspector Garrison's men found the plant in the same place I need you to go. On Main Street, just south of the Miskatonic River, there are some old warehouses long abandoned. However, rumors have been circulating about their ethereal green lights seen floating around the premise. Also, inexplicable noises, unearthly sound, if we believe, have been said to have driven local dogs quite mad. If all that weren't enough to cause concern, several people have claimed to have seen something flying overhead. Descriptions of these things bear more than some resemblance to the things I encountered while in the Antarctic. These claims, combined with a rash of disappearances in the area, are troubling, to say the least. You've been to Antarctica? You take out a pipe and stuff it with the scrap of a dirty sock, then light. When you look out, Armitage is gazing at you intently, head tilted. You have taken to smoking a pipe?
And the song?
Interesting. Armitage pauses at length, then gets to his feet, sauntering over to the open window. I need you to investigate those warehouses. I need you to do so quickly. So I'm going to direct you this time without joining you in my own investigation. I know you enjoy your independence, but do me this favor and follow my instructions to the best of your ability. Then, after you follow up on these first 3 leads, report back to me at my home. It's very important we finish this quickly. Do you understand?
No.
You find his request strange, but you agree. You are not sure you like his controlling attitude. If he needs an errand boy, then perhaps he should hire one.
Oh.
Armitage turns to leer at you over his shoulder, licking his coat like a bathing cat. A wave of
Been replaced by an alien.
Your chair, but you catch yourself on his desk. Are you okay? He asks, his eyes flickering 1,000 colors.
Yep, he's an alien.
I'm fine, and you? You ask, feeling more certain that something is wrong. Smoking sock will make you dizzy if you are not accustomed, he says, moving over to hand you a piece of paper. Here, I wrote down the first 3 leads. You glance at the writing, still feeling lightheaded, rubbing your eyes. The paper reads, Donnie Clark at the Arkham Advisor. Armitage slings a dead tiger over his back.
What?
I will be off. Can you please lock up when you leave? Armitage leaves you there with his peculiar notes. At the top of the paper, you see a faint impression. The imprint of another note on top of this note. Grabbing a pencil and shading the impression reveals, only Sutton knows my true side. I will keep them busy. They must not talk to Sutton or... Suddenly you hear Armitage speaking out in the hall in a hushed voice. Yes, they will be predisposed long enough. Meet me at X. Bring Cassile with you. He needs to be taken out of the equation permanently. Sutton saved his life. He shouldn't have. Your heart pounds in your chest, making it hard to breathe. Armitage is not himself. You take another puff of dirty sock.
I don't know. Wow. Okay, so that's.
Slang for something?
I guess that's. Okay.
No, I think-
You literally smoking dirty sock.
No, I think he's literally smoking dirty socks.
But,
This is, I think,
No, it says you take out a pipe and stuff it with a scrap of dirty sock and then light it. So you're smoking the sock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're smoking it.
Can I see
because we're fucking.
No, this is like
This has
so.
some
To,
This
right,
is Amigo. This
everything is
definitely Amigo.
completely different. Right when he gets to the note with the 3 clues,
Oh.
like at that point and on, everything changes. So I'm gonna read it from here.
Okay.
I would prefer that. So
You glance at the writing, still feeling lightheaded, rubbing your eyes. The paper reads. The first line says, "Will Coffin's a good man!" Exclamation mark.
Will Coffin.
WILL Coffin COFFIN apostrophe S a good capital MAN. Next line says, "It looks like LILW," and then
Okay.
capital OCFFNI. Yeah, no, OCFFNI. At Teehee. Capital ETWFLEODO. That's capital ETWFLEODO. Space capital ENRID. Inrid. And then the last line says, all one word, capital IWLLIAM, capital YDER.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's.
The first words are Will Coffin.
Yeah. There's also a Johnny Clark somewhere.
Johnny. What?
We're ignoring that one. William.
That's the one for the thing, but I don't know. But like.
Wait, what was this one? At
Tehe.
E. Was it?
ETWFLEODO space capital ENRID.
F. You think that's a what?
FLEODO. So it's basically a word jumble. Alright. Then Armitage slings a dead tiger over his shoulder. "I will be off. Can you please lock up when you leave?" Armitage leaves you there with his peculiar notes. At the top of the paper, you see a faint impression of the imprint of another note on top of this note. It's still different. Grabbing a pencil and shading the impression reveals, "Sutton knows nothing. He's a dead end for anyone snooping around." Completely different. You feel a sensation in your throat. An uncomfortable thought appears. Armitage wants you to follow up on a wild goose chase. He gave you a puzzle to solve. To get you out of the way. You listen at his door. Armitage is speaking out in the hall in a hushed voice. "Yes, they'll be predisposed long enough. How about the sanitarium? I'll meet you tonight under the moon. Oh, I can see you now. You and the moon. You wear a necktie, so I'll know ya. Bring Castle, Kassel, with you. He needs to be taken out of the equation. Sutton saved his life. He shouldn't have. Your heart pounds in your chest, making it hard to breathe. You take another puff of dirty sock." I think sock is a slang for like a type of tobacco.
Something like that.
Alright, so we don't have a deadline.
I really hated that.
It was really bad.
It's like get a piece of plum in his throat.
Yeah, you talk like this and you sound really old. Can't you tell I'm really old? I'm old. Did that not work?
So
I imagine more as a like Burt Reynolds type, aged Burt.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't do bird. So, yeah, so otherwise this thing works how it works.
Maybe this is
Okay. Oh, pumpkin cookies?
double chocolate.
Oh.
actually triple chocolate. There's dark
It's a
milk
lot of
and
chocolate.
white, so.
Dented. Alright, so.
The importance of your husband's dirty socks from domesticallyblissful.com.
I'm not sure if you should be looking up that stuff.
I can't find any other reference to dirty socks.
Yeah. I found this one crazy guy that was a Nile addict or something like that. And he apparently started smoking his relative's socks.
I see.
Oh,
This is not a slang thing. I think we've just gone crazy because we're next to an alien.
I mean, he speaks in a different language at one point.
You speak in a different
Yeah, that's
language.
what I mean.
The investigator speaks.
We
Yeah.
speak in a different language. We all speak in unison. We are the real
we are
alien.
a hive mind, yes, occupying one body.
And
It's
where's
four
this
persons
cat
body.
part? Where he's-
All right.
He doesn't have that cat.
Dun dun
Will Coffin's a good
dun.
man. Will Coffin at the
Favorite
ETW
salt flavored tobacco.
something
we're doing
diner.
different things.
Okay, so it's at the diner.
Great.
That's easy.
So we have to go to the sanatorium tonight. It's probably going to be one of those if-then sort of things.
Yeah. So our third stop should be the sanitarium.
Mm-hmm.
Guess where you're going?
Oh, my third?
Well,
Are we doing?
our normal.
No.
Oh, okay. It's been a while.
It has been.
He's at the Fleetwood Diner.
It's last year. I get to make that awful joke.
I don't know what this last one
I mean,
is.
it's been a while.
I,
Didn't we
William.
do it in November?
Sorry, it's not William.
I think William might have.
I think it was
William.
October.
No, I think it's like. I don't know. It's
Early
been-
November, I think.
All right, so
What was we made with YVE?
Can I see what the thing looks like? No, I don't think so.
WDR.
What?
Y
I just want to see what the note looks like.
I mean, it's just handwriting.
Dairy.
Yeah, basically. I just want to see.
Dairy.
Third. Ready.
Ready misspelled. A bunch of words that have been misspelled.
Can I have a cookie? May I please have a cookie?
Yeah. Stand up. Here's the.
Okay, so Will Coffin's at the Fleetwood Diner.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I mean, I don't know where to go. I guess go to Will Coffin's house.
Or you know where the
William
Fleetwood Diner?
ready?
What?
He's at the Fleetwood Diner.
Fine. Where's the Fleetwood Diner?
D2.
Can I have the book now?
Is that where you're going?
Yeah. D2. Five was D2. All right. Will Coffin gives you a wiry smile when you offer your query regarding the recent rash of strange sightings and disappearances. This is Arkham, Massachusetts. Remember, you have personally seen stranger sights than most of us, and that's saying something considering that strange is a weekly occurrence in this town. He takes a sip of his coffee. You wonder how much coffee the man drinks, and if he ever sleeps. I do have something for you, which very nicely ties both a local disappearance and a strange sighting together. I'll give it to you for the usual price. Sign. But knowing that Coffin's information is usually reliable and often invaluable, you slide him the payment. Who is this Will Coffin guy?
He's in the back of the...
He's a shady fellow. And he might take you to unsavory places.
Yeah, we never really used him.
Yeah, this is the one thing. It's kind of like the cabbie. Use him once.
He knows everything.
There's this fellow named Henry Gibson. See? There's a fellow named Henry Gibson, see, who lives in an enormous loft on the east of town near the river. Gibson is his middle management at the Speakeasy. Gibson is middle management at Speakeasy, which, as you know, is the only non-private location that openly sells alcohol ever since Arts Billiards had that attack a couple of years back and got all that police scrutiny. Well, as a manager, Gibson had his hand in a bunch of underground operations, and one thing he was attempting to do was start his own private party service. You know, for a fee, you get the works. Booze, girls, catering, and even more illicit things if you can afford it. Anyway, one night last week, Gibson goes back to his house with a Canadian liquor importer named Castle. Same as spelled before, and a couple of young ladies. They were going to have a, quote, meeting, if you catch my meaning. Gibson opens the door and they enter the dark house. Then something happened, something which no doubt would be the very definition of what you'd call a strange sighting. I'm only privy to the aftermath myself, so here is what I know, what any of us know. One of the young ladies and Gibson himself vanished without a trace. Gibson's house now lies empty, and his position at the Speakeasy goes vacant. Castle is at Arkham Sanitarium. Words cannot describe the state he's in. Finally, the other woman, Fiona Barnes, is still working at the speakeasy itself. It's from her we got the information we had. Although it was difficult to glean given her circumstances, you see, she's only still working there because the owner, Mr. Town, that's Town with an E, has a soft spot for her. Fiona's gone blind and mute. She's little more than a maid and a bar back now. And not that much good either. You thank Coffin for his information and leave the Fleetwood Diner, even as he orders another refill of coffee. Aliens and their coffee.
So just curious, but this is the this is from the note that Armitage gave us, right? The one that he's using to give us on the giant goose chase?
Possibly. Yes.
Okay. So it sounds like there's going to be 2 threads of investigation here. So.
Alright.
Where's the speakeasy?
So William is a good man, or Michael, whatever.
I mean,
The guy we
speakeasy
just
probably
talked to
wouldn't
is a
have...
good man.
The speakeasy.
Okay, maybe not.
Do you have an entrance for the speakeasy?
I mean, I have the thing for it.
It's out of the sanitarium.
Well, no, the sanitarium we want to go at night, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
because
Are there
they
chocolate
believe
chips in
it.
here?
Gotcha.
What?
Are there chocolate chips in here?
White chocolate.
Which one?
White
Oh,
chocolate.
okay.
There's also the warehouse.
Well, I was looking for the chocolate chips. Well, you said it was triple chocolate.
Is it?
There's milk chocolate and dark chocolate in the base, and there's white chocolate in the chips.
Oh, okay. I
and
didn't-
4. We're going to the speakeasy.
Sorry. Sorry to disappoint.
What was wrong?
N4, the speakeasy.
M?
N.
Times again.
As in Nancy.
Fiona Barnes is a striking beauty, and you can see why the owner, Mr. Town, dotes on her even now. Her face becomes distorted with anguish when you ask her about the events at Gibson's loft, turning this beautiful woman into an old hag in an instant. She can no longer speak, but with a trembling hand, she is able to write an account of the tragic evening. You feel shock as you read of how she, along with Gibson, Castle, and a young lady, a student at Miskatonic named Anne Brightman, had entered the loft, intent on a night of fun, and found instead a terror beyond imagining.
What's her name again?
Her name is Anne Brightman.
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 Student in this.
Though it was dark inside, Fiona writes, there was a ghastly green glow coming from various places all around them, and something, a dark, shadowy shape, was rising right through the floor. Anne and Henry hadn't even had a chance to scream before something came out of the darkness and snatched them both. She never saw what happened to Castle. Fiona herself only escaped because she was closest to the door, and by instinct alone had simply backed out of the house and run, remembering nothing until she come to in a hospital bed, blind and unable to speak. Otherwise, the only thing she can remember were the eyes. The monstrosity had been covered by them, all watching, all seeing, searching. The walls and ceiling were covered in eyes, she writes. She stops writing suddenly, and you see that tears are streaming out of her sightless eyes. Okay, that's enough, the barman says protectively. You thank her for her time, and wish her a speedy recovery as you take your leave.
What number's the sanitarium?
Sanitarium.
It's like D1 or something. 1 second. I don't know if that's actually right.
Yeah, what is doing?
But before we go there, where was the flower found?
Laura was given from the botany department.
Is it ironic that
No, he
she
said
can't
the
speak and
flower
she's
was
at the
found.
speakeasy?
It was found at the warehouses. But it was given by
You're welcome.
Yeah.
by the professor, but they found it at the warehouse.
Yeah.
I was-
Warehouse also got the weird green lights and the things flying over it that were from the already.
I just don't know if we should go talk to the water.
I don't know. So yeah, so we have this. This is the Armitage thing where it's like these things are happening, but then we also have this plot to kill this guy at the sanitarium tonight.
Is that Sutton? Kill Sutton.
Yeah, it's Sutton that they're targeting.
Are
Yeah.
they killing? Oh, yeah.
Because Armitage said bring who?
Castle.
Castle.
How do you spell castle?
Castle.
Kassel.
And that's the guy who disappeared during this thing that struck
Gibson.
Julia. Oh, Gibson disappeared.
Gibson.
Gibson is
She didn't know what
Castle
happened
went-
to Castle.
Castle went nuts.
He's in the center.
Oh, okay.
Henry Gibson, I read about. He was the one who was in charge. Oh, he was one of the people who disappeared with the girl
Yeah, he
Anne
disappeared.
Brightman.
With Anne.
Yeah. Gibson
Was it Anne
disappeared.
or Anna?
It was Anne.
Anne. Okay.
So it was Anne, Gibson, Julia, and who went to that party? The
Those
Canadian
four.
party?
Yeah.
Who was the fourth?
The two girls, Gibson and Castle.
Castle. Alright.
So you're doing D1?
Right? Don't you think that's a good idea?
The
Yeah.
sanitarium? Yeah.
Do it.
Yes, yes, an administrator says to you when you check on Castle at the sanitarium. Edmund Castle, after 3 days in the hospital under Dr. Sutton's supervision, we received Mr. Castle. He leads you down a long, creepily antiseptic hallway to a plain, unobtrusive single door. He raises a hand to pause you as he opens the door a crack and peers inside. Then he pushes it wide and motions you inside. Here's Mr. Castle, he says, although I honestly don't think he's going to be of much help. Inside this small, wood-paneled, windowless room, a single lamp on a table illuminates Edmund Castle as he lies on his metal-framed hospital bed. He's motionless, his eyes staring forward, fully dilated and unblinking. His mouth hangs open, and saliva runs down his bristly chin. You're about to remark on it when the administrator pulls the sheets away from the catatonic man and says, Mr. Castle lost his legs during whatever came to pass the other night. Halfway down both of Castle's thighs, his legs have been severed, cleanly and evenly, almost surgically. You've never seen an amputation so smooth, or in that part of a person's legs. You stay for a while, trying to ply Castle with questions about what happened that fateful night to no avail. He doesn't even blink. He won't eat either, the administrator remarks as you're leaving the sanitarium. I think he'll eventually starve to death if nothing else happens. Ambrose Checkley came by with a casserole, smelled delicious, and we still couldn't get a response out of Castle. So Dr. Sutton works at the hospital?
Ambrose Checkley, U18. If you find yourself in need of information about the privileged class or the entertainment circle, she is the person to see. He is a notorious gossip hound and high society mogul, eager to share any tawdry stories he comes across.
So where are you going?
Maybe finding out more about Sutton would be good at the hospital, or
Or should we start looking into the flower, since that was a good one?
so this was the sanitarium. The hospital's different, right?
Yeah.
Let's try
Which
before
hospital?
going after
The hospital Sutton works.
if there is a. How many hospitals are there?
I would say like Arkham.
The Arkham.
The campus, the university hospital?
There's like the teaching hospital, which is C11, which I think is the main one. For some reason I thought there was medical facilities. Sanitarium, the doctor, Horton Wilson, Larkin Institute, yeah. C11.
C11. I will go to C11.
St. Mary's Teaching Hospital.
As usual, in order to have a word with a good doctor, you have to follow Sutton around the hospital as he checks up on patients. A shame, he says, about Castle. That is, it's a good thing that Mr. Town at the speakeasy knew him, or else he might have come to us as a John Doe, and then gone to the sanitarium for a permanent stay. Now this is a chance that some of his people in Canada will come to take him home. I have to say one thing about Castle's injuries that will no doubt interest you, Professor Armitage. When Castle came to the hospital, the officers and emergency personnel delivered him were frantic for my help because he was missing both legs, and they thought he might die from blood loss. But when I looked at him, I saw that his wounds had already been sealed. Sutton stops at a sleeping patient, pulls a rubber plug from the patient's arm, causing the patient's body to deflate with a loud hiss. Then he calls over a nurse and whispers something to her. She frowns and hurries off while you stifle a yawn. Not cauterized, mind you, sealed.
Going insane.
I could tell that the injuries were fresh. He'd likely been walking on both feet a few hours before, but they were properly staunched and had already begun healing. If I didn't know better, I'd say that his legs didn't get severed, at least not recently. There was no sign of incision. They just disappeared. I've never seen anything like it in my life. Excuse me, the nurse indicated that one of our patients we thought deceased has a heartbeat again. Dr. Sutton walks off and you hear him exclaim, "Look, she's moving! She's alive! She's alive! She's alive! She's moving! She's alive! She's alive! She's alive! She's alive! She's alive! And it trails off.
She could be alive.
So is it just me, or is the weirdness only happened on the campus so far?
I don't know. I mean, there was this.
Only 2 instances of weirdness.
Yeah.
So.
We are weird.
Oh yeah, I already put that in. That's in 1 minute.
Where are you going?
I'm trying to find it.
So who's the botany person again?
Yeah, that's right. Watkins or something.
Yeah, but he's also, I can't just find the botany.
What's that I'm looking for? I thought there was a... Because there's a science hall, there's a school of medicine.
I think it's just like a flower
What's the
shop.
science? Isn't the botanist in the science place?
Oh, there's the science hall.
Oh, that's the same place.
I'm assuming science and not medicine.
Yeah, I think you're going to go for science with botany.
What's his name? Watney.
He's a doctor, right?
Professor.
Mm.
University. Go to the unvisited.
Sure.
There was only 3 errata things for this one, so and it's 3 of them. I haven't read one of them because it said spoilers, so I avoided it. So
What about the other one?
the other one was just like if you go to this, it was like a supplement. It's like, oh, what do I do for supplement X? So like read supplement X. It's like, oh my gosh, that's the errata.
Okay, I'm gonna go to C12.
Which is.
The science hall.
Hall.
Went right next door, maybe.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's the right place. It's not the other halls.
Should be
I'm pretty
writing them.
confident there's a higher chance of botany at the science hall than
The plant shop.
the hospital.
Okay, a lot.
Hey, there you go.
Just some guy I'm not expecting to see. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Out loud.
Anyway. Want botany. Okay. The door to Professor William Dyer's office. Oh. Well, we
William-
found William Dyer.
Wait, what?
He was the other name on the
He was the other name. That's how you can do it.
DIRE.
Yeah.
D-Y-E-R.
Yeah, that's,
DYER.
that's
So
obviously why I meant to go here.
That's nice.
What place are we? Like, letter?
This side.
C12.
C12.
His office is open just a crack, and the light spills out in a harsh white line, despite how dark it is in the corner of the geology department. You rap on the door, and in a near whisper, Dyer says, "Come in." A huge light illuminates Dyer's desk, where he sits, examining a series of geodes through magnifying glasses. "You've come from Armitage," he says. "I've heard of you." On that arduous boat ride back in autumn 1930, he sang your praises nonstop. Trouble either precedes you or follows you, so I imagine your visit bodes ill for me. Nonetheless, how can I help you? You tell him the purpose of your visit, and ask him about the closed blinds and the overabundance of light. He laughs. "The watchful eyes of this Shoggoth are why I keep my blinds closed and my lights on." Do you know what a Shoggoth is?
Yes.
You make up an odd reason for dropping by. Just thought I would take a look at your rocks. Judging by the growing expression on his face, you realize there is something he may be hiding. Dyer continues on about Shoggoth. He relates how in late summer 1930, on an expedition of scientists and students traveled to Antarctica to explore and to test several inventions created by Dr. Pabodi. Our adventures were horrific, and brought us face to face with alien forces we still don't fully understand. The Shoggoth were amorphous, faithless servants of beings we've come to call the Elder Gods. Their sole mission, to build and protect the vast edifices we found buried in the ice beyond the trans-Arctic mountain range. Unlike their masters, they are biological beings, which need shelter and food as we do. Unlike us, though, they are capable of assuming any form, which includes the imitation of the actions and thoughts of the form they copy. Should that template actually act or think? Based on the enormity of their food source, which consisted of gigantic crazed penguins, I can only guess that the Shoggoth are huge, as big as houses or bigger. I was fortunate, I think, to never actually see a Shoggoth. Craig Danforth, the only surviving member of the intercontinental expedition, saw something. and it drove him mad. What did he see? A Shoggoth or one of their masters? I fear we shall never know. Danforth has left town and has been undergoing treatment for his dementia, which he will no doubt leave gaps in his memory. For nearly 2 years, I've been back here in Arkham, leading my life as normally as I could. Recently, though, Henry Armitage and I happened to attend a student art show hosted by Thaddeus Conway in a small side wing of the university library. The show is long gone, but one young lady's paintings left an indelible mark on me. I don't know how she knows what Shoggoth look like, but she does, and I don't know, having never seen one myself, how I came upon this creeping certainty that the creatures in her painting were indeed those very horrors, but alas, I am certain. Ever since I saw her work, I've had nightmares, and I can't help but constantly feel that I'm being observed from afar and from on high. I have a growing fear that somehow we brought something back. It needed time to adjust to its surroundings. Our climate is warmer, and it no doubt needed a food source. Now, though, it is ready. For what purpose, though, I could not guess. Take requirement card 1.
Dun, dun,
If you
dun.
have something, proceed to something.
It's Shoggoth. We don't have something?
So we got a something.
We did get a something. I mean, because requirement cards have been taken for us in the past.
It's like 20 requirement cards. You get 1. You still get a perfect score. I'm like, what?
It never said that person's name.
Yeah, it never said the artist's name, but what do you get the feeling it's...
It could be Brightman.
I was thinking it's Alice. Oh yeah, what's your...
And Brightman.
Anne, A, right.
So we could check out Anne Brightman's place, which I doubt she's even in the
I mean, she's
directory.
at university.
She's gone, so...
Well, I mean, we could check out her stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
But
With
Craig-
Thaddeus,
what?
see-
Thaddeus?
was the guy who hosted it, so he may have access
He
to...
would
At the library, yeah.
Then there's Dyer, and then
We just
Danford.
met Dyer.
We talked to Dyer.
No, I guess, yeah.
That was Dyer.
Did we solve everything on the note then?
So we never saw Watney.
Was it Danford or Forth? Craig?
Danforth.
Craig Danforth survived. He went crazy. He's no longer
I think
in Arkham.
he's a name drop from the story that this is about.
Mhm.
Because there was a story about Antarctica and something, I forget the name of it, but it's pretty... That's when the Shoggoth were introduced as a thing to the lore.
Mountains of Madness?
Yes.
That's
Named
the name of the
after the
story.
expansion pack for the...
So,
Expansion pack for what?
the thing
What
that
the hell would
you
the
have
botany
that I always forget the name of.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Where's the botany department? There is... I don't
the
think
what
so.
department?
the botany department.
In the science lab.
What about
We were
where the
just-
warehouses? Where it was
So
actually-
there's the warehouses on the south side.
They're on the east.
On the south of the
They're on the
river.
south. They're south of the river.
Does Brightman have a location?
No.
No.
Okay.
She's
You could-
vanished along with...
You could go
Henry
to
Gilbert.
one of the dorms.
I don't want to randomly pick a dorm. I feel
But
like...
is there an art? Is there like a gallery or something like that?
I mean, there's the...
Art department?
I mean, what did he say? He was in the library.
Maybe.
What,
Thaddeus was the guy who posted it.
Is Thaddeus a name on the list? Because Thaddeus sounds kind of familiar. Is he on the resource list?
can you go back to C12?
Dr. Pedotti? Pedotti?
Where was the exhibit? Was it an art exhibit?
Exhibit?
It should be, right?
Yeah. Expedition. Thaddeus Conway. Small
So
side wing
so
of the university library.
Okay. So it's at the university.
Show is long gone, but one young lady's paintings left.
But the guy might still be there.
Thaddeus will still be there at the library.
So there's...
It's in the student art shows. Well, there's Conway in there? Thaddeus Conway? I mean, they mentioned it's long gone, so I don't even know if that person's still there.
Yeah,
I
there's...
assume that he's the
Art curator?
And there's also
in charge
the...
of campus stuff.
we could go to the
Is he there?
administration. Or there's also the administration building if we wanted to find out where she was. So you want... What
Thaddeus Conway?
would this see?
Conway of the Sea. in that
So we
one.
never caught
D61.
them trying to take
Is that the guy
over-
from the art museum?
What's his
Yes,
name?
the show
The
hosted by
cemetery.
Thaddeus Conway.
Oh, so you'd
Because
rather
that's
go
why we
there.
went there at night.
Wait, no,
right?
I want to go see
Stop it.
Thaddeus.
And that
Right,
never
right.
happened.
So you'd rather go see Thaddeus.
And
than
that was
go
our
to the
only
library.
link to this whole
Yes.
Armitage before he got screwed over thing.
Yeah.
Is just make sure we don't.
What?
I'm just trying. Well, there's two separate stories here, right? There's the one we're trying to be distracted with, and then there's the one that is actually going on.
Well, we went to Sanatorium at night and nothing
And
happened.
nothing happened. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if there's anything else from that we could use.
We're also supposed to go back to Armitage's house, he said.
Once we follow all three of those.
Haven't we done all three?
We've done all three.
Because he said he's a good man. We haven't done
Wasn't Dan all caps?
No, it's just the M's cap, but we haven't done that one yet.
Which one?
Oh.
I thought it was the same Mike Coffin, right?
The one was William Coffin is a good man
Yes.
with a capital M.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was William Coffin.
Is that the
place?
diner?
I mean, there was Donnie Clark at the Art of back.
No, the Donnie Clark was.
So, where
that was
is...
from The Voice.
That was the weekend.
So we're cutting that.
Yeah, unless either that or it's a spoiler, we can just like skip 18 things by doing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait, what's a spoiler?
Nah, the Donnie Clark.
Which came first, the voice recording?
Which
or-
one
Voice
you doing?
recordings first. Oh yeah.
Oh!
That was the Fleetwood Diner.
Oh, okay.
That's why I went to the Fleetwood Diner.
Okay.
But this one, Will Coffin's a good.
Man.
So
He's a good man to take over as a Shoggoth.
I'm trying to think of is does the good man mean anything? Because the man is capitalized.
Mhm.
And there's an
Well,
excla-
is
and it's a
there-
good man exclamation.
Well, how many mans are in the directory?
And there could be. Man, there's only the Manly Theater, Manning, Mannington's Restaurant.
No man. I may just be.
Maybe it's a clue to the fact that he's like, man. Like he's.
Quote unquote, he's a showgirl.
That's the thing. Shoggoth Armitage gave us that, right? That note.
We think it's Charlie Armitage.
The multicolored eyes, I think, is just a pretty good clue.
Well, he's a cat person. He's not a showgirl.
That'd be even weird. I mean,
Because he was licking his coat and then threw the
Look,
tiger skin over his shoulder.
Yeah, we've also seen patients deflating and a doctor acting like a Frankenstein guy. So
So where is what's his name? Conway. D. What?
Whatever I told you.
Library.
No, we're not going library.
He
We're
wants to
going
go to
Daddy's.
his. He wants to go to his house. Wait, which one's Conway?
Daddy's Conway, the
Oh.
show hosted by Thaddeus Conway. Art show.
Then who was at
hosted-
the library?
He
The
doesn't have
show
a
was
house.
hosted at the university library.
Okay, so you want to just go to his house. D61 is his house.
Yes. D61?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I want to go to his house. D61. D61. He's not here now, Sugar, she says.
Yeah, no shit,
apology.
Adam. He's at
He
the
said
library.
that he's going to the university for a few hours, probably catch them there if you hurry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You know what? Not everybody's always at their job, okay? Not everybody's.
they are.
They usually are though.
Shh.
We
The
used to go to
library
their
is-
houses all the time, and then
Where you-
stopped doing that.
The library is C23.
Where are you going?
I'm going to
D61 is a fail. There's also the warehouses.
Ambrose Checkley. U18.
That brought the casserole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
What
wait.
is it?
Where is this?
U18.
D61, note fail. Go to C23
Thanks.
instead, people.
Do not
Okay,
pass go.
so we're going
Do
to
not
check.
collect $500.
What was it? You
U18.
check.
Oh my god.
Time to read?
Time to read or time not to read?
Both.
I see.
What?
Requirement.
Requirement cards. How well?
Ambrose does not answer his door, but you hear him yelling in the backyard. He is holding a string and looking up at what appears to be a kite. Dang thing keeps getting tangled in the clouds, he yells. You act coy, like you are just popping in for a casual hello, and Ambrose does not seem to be bothered by your questions. He is just acting strange. Have you seen Armitage lately, you ask? Nope. A good man. Love that man, he spouts. Something is really off about Ambrose. Oh well, actually, I have seen him with Garrison. They got something going on concerning that crazy book in the library. The dead book? They want to use it for something. Ambrose pauses and yells up at his kite. He turns to fits of anger. and duck get out of the clouds.
Inspector Garrison's a show with too.
Where are you going?
Warehouses.
I think either the warehouses or the library.
Which warehouses?
Is there anything?
What's the one that is directly south of the M10?
There's
right?
the docks, the easterly warehouses, and the old warehouses. And they're all
on that
M10,
line.
M40, and M40.
There's M10 and M40 basically.
And M39. One of these are probably supposed to be 39.
Or is it? I can double check.
I mean,
I think the warehouses are tracked.
I feel like if we go to the warehouses, like one of those things where it's like, you get sick, and then something bad happens.
Get delayed.
That's
Or
happened
you
to
see
us
right on
historically.
or you get a requirement card.
Well,
Which for the library?
Yep, C23.
You said none of the investigations can kill you.
No, we can't.
You can just get, like, in previous ones, you can get delayed and it goes further.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he's
just
like,
delay
oh,
us.
skip 2 days. Or
It's
skip
like
a day.
nuclear radiation. It'll happen later, but it won't happen during the investigation.
There's no player elimination.
No.
So you said D23?
C.
C.
C23.
We should make them
I-
revisit.
Alright,
I would be a little annoyed by that, I think.
okay. Amelia Sargent nods knowingly when he stops to inquire regarding the corpse plant in the island nation of Sumatra.
What? Sure.
New.
Let's
Okay.
do this. Sumatra. Who doesn't love Sumatra?
You say that Henry had one of these in his office, she asked, shaking her head. I know he's prone to esoteric overreaches, but I find it hard to believe even he would subject himself to something that nauseating. Also, I'm sure I would have smelled it out here in the stacks, given the pervasiveness of its stench. Which leads me to another question. When exactly did you meet with him in his office? You tell her, and in response she frowns and shakes her head again, this time more vigorously. I find that hard to believe as well. You see, the day before that, the professor told me he intended to take a small respite from the concerns of the library and of Arkham. He said that he, Leonore Robinson, Dorothy Davis, and our historian friend Wilma Slocum, all these women, we're going to spend the morning and early afternoon reading a new play by an Australian writer named Frank Harvey. I think he said it was called The Last Enemy, and it had something to do with Antarctica. Anyway, I've never known Henry to double book himself, so apparently he missed his appointment with the historian ladies. Unusual, I think. Miss Slocum seemed particularly annoyed by his cancellation. We thank Miss Sargent for her attention, then take a few minutes to peruse the book she brought out. It doesn't take long to figure out that neither book will help you much, except for one brief passage in the botany book, which states that sometimes criminals in Indonesia use the presence of the corpse plant to mask other odious smells they didn't want people to discover.
Sugar.
Armitage is dead. He's on the floor somewhere.
Can you name the ladies again?
Okay, so the historian ladies are Leonore Robinson, Dorothy Davis, and Wilma Slocum.
Slocum was from a previous investigation, wasn't she?
And it sounded like Slocum was the one that was most pissed off.
Yeah.
Yep. Hint, hint.
Tempting. Because, yeah, well, for a second I thought that was the signal that they were all taken by Shoguth, who just were impersonating them.
Mhm.
Slocum is F45 for future reference.
Okay.
So
We
the
could do
I wanted
Slocum.
to.
I want to go to Armitage's house and just get that over with.
Do you know what it is?
No.
His office.
His office or house?
He said come to my
No, he
house.
wanted to go to his house.
Okay.
He said that in the introduction of this.
Yeah, he
Given
very.
that we're in the library already, shouldn't
U8.
we might as well go to Armitage's office since it's a free move?
Is it?
No, it's the same.
Yeah, but he's not helping us out this time.
No, but there's...
If it's a free move.
Is it a free move?
Yeah,
Where is that
it's-
written?
It's C23A, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it says that
That's
he's
it?
not there.
No.
Okay, so C23A. Armitage's office is blocked off by construction work. You're not able to get to his door to check to see if he's in.
U8 is his house.
You ate.
Is that where we're going?
It looks like it.
Okay. In the Uptown District. In all the years you've been apprenticed to him, you've never knocked on Armitage's door and not had either he or his wife answer. Somehow, you don't expect him, but she at least should greet you. Not so today, and you're immediately concerned. You knock again, wait a few moments, then decide to try the door. The knob turns and the door opens a crack. You call into the darkness, first for the professor, then for his wife. And you're ashamed to realize you don't know her first name. She knows your voice, though, and she answers. Is it really you? She calls from someplace deep inside the house. When you push the door open a little further, answering. You push the door open a little further, answering in the affirmative. When you do, a smell drifts into your nostrils, and its out-of-place nature reminds you of the corpse plant in Armitage's office. This scent, however, is neither as strong nor as unusual as that one. It is simply the smell of dankness and mildew. And when Miss Armitage emerges from the shadows in the back of the living room, you can do the math. Typically, she and the professor are immaculate housekeepers, but she comes out, haggard and unwashed, and Armitage himself is gone, she says. He called me 3 days ago and told me to hide, and that he would join me soon. He told me that he had to visit Pasquale Fenton first, and that he intended to cancel his weekly drama reading with Leonore Robson, Dorothy Davis, and his dream Arkham friend, William Slocum. But he never came home. She tells you how she's been hiding for days, camped out on the floor of a walk-in closet in her bedroom, only coming out for a quick sandwich and glass of water. And when the water started tasting funny, I settled for some week-old iced tea I'd made before I left. Please find him, she implores you. I need him, of course, but more than that, I think the world needs him. You give her your assurances, and she accepts them. When you offer to take her someplace else, somewhere with other people, she declines. No, thank you. I believe I'm safer here, away from other people, away from places that are unfamiliar.
Huh.
So the water.
Yeah, it sounds like the town's being subjected to psychedelic drugs on the water supply or something.
You're drinking Shogos.
Yeah.
Where are you going, Brian? I'll take another cookie. Please.
Also, Pasquale Fenton. He may know something, or he may just tell us the chocolates.
Squall is helpful.
Okay, it's from the old warehouse.
Okay.
So there's the old warehouses. Fenton, apparently. And that might be where the real one went.
Maybe. I mean, this is feels like track 2 versus the track 1 quest of the warehouses. So
I want to check out the warehouses. And then M40, we go.
alright.
And like Mary?
Yeah.
Like Nancy.
Maybe.
Because the M district is the maritime? Mercantile district.
Sure.
Because C is campus.
M41. Is that what
I'm French.
Oh dear.
Ooh. Okay.
Which number?
What? M40.
Man 40.
Shoot.
Man.
Big red.
I'm sorry.
Michael 40. M40.
Okay. Say Nancy and all that. Okay, good. This is a warehouse.
What?
Just read it.
A ramshackle storehouse at the old warehouse of... Wait, misspelling.
What?
There's a misspelling. Instead of warehouses, it's warehouse.
Or there's two M40s could be warehouses.
It's the warehouse. Yeah, I know. It's supposed to be warehouses, and there's an A.
Oh, there's a warehouse.
It's the warehouse C. The warehouse C supposedly belongs to a man named Winston Coyle.
Winston
Well,
Coyle.
you see no sign of habitation here at all. In fact, the disrepair it has fallen into, while fairly common in a number of these long rivers, seems particularly aggressive and destructive. You knock on the door to the building, and it falls off of its hinges into a cloud of dust. Beyond, darkness gapes at you, and you're immediately reminded of your earlier encounter in a darkened, empty warehouse space. Anyone there? That was one of the previous.
That happened in the 40s, though.
Was it?
Well, this is a prologue, not a...
Anyone there? You shout into the black. You're unsurprised that there's no answer. Taking a deep breath, you step through the doorway. First, a debilitating smell assaults you, and you fight to not double over and throw up your last meal. Corpses. The smell of the corpse flower is the only thing you can compare to the stench, and you're ironically grateful that the plant smell might have prepared you for this onslaught. Next, your eyes adjust to the shadows, and you see that the entire building is stacked to the ceiling with crates. Thousands and thousands of crates. And in between the crates, an eldritch green light glows, pulsating around. Then someone starts whistling that tune which has become so familiar to you in recent days. You're about to yell at the whistler to stop. You've had enough. When Professor Armitage himself rounds the corner from behind some crates, smiling broadly and holding out inviting arms. "You came," he says. "Certainly," you whisper, and the smile disappears. A loud slurping sound echoes in the darkness, as if a gigantic sink were unclogging, and the chanting begins anew. Tekalili, tekalili. The crates surrounding you begin to shake, becoming amorphous blobs, and then forming themselves into eyes, thousands of eyes, all glowing like eldritch green, all staring at and into you. Armichage's body begins to warp, to bend, to twist like a tentacle, and the boneless black appendage swings out at you, trying to make contact. You dodge, but then you realize it doesn't matter. You realize that the entire building is inhabited by a Shogoth,
It's a show built
and that you've been lured once again inside of it. This time the exit is too far away, and this time it was waiting for you. There'll be no escape from the faceless, formless beast. The floor begins to undulate beneath you.
This is how we die.
If you have requirement card 9,
We don't.
do this. If not, do this.
We die.
We don't have this, so what do we do?
I read entry 6.
We dead.
Yeah.
We so dead.
If the game were to kill us off, this would be the moment.
Actually, we did get killed off during the last miss.
Did we?
Did we?
Oh, right. Yeah, because we were in the fire.
We didn't do the thing. Yeah.
No, we did do it.
What?
We did it right the second time around.
Yeah, one of them we had to do.
We didn't get the tattoo.
Yeah.
Remember?
Oh, yeah, we did.
We might have to
Right.
rewind in a second anyway. You fall through the floor screaming. You expect to die, suffocating and freezing in the infinite vastness of outer space. And indeed, for a moment, there's no air, and a bitter chill begins frosting the edges of your clothing and the tips of your hair. Then everything goes black. After a time, you open your eyes, and you see several individuals standing above you, bent over you and looking down at you. You immediately recognize Armitage, but you don't know the demure young lady beside him, nor the handsome man in expensive clothing across from him.
Gilbert.
Armitage grunts and shakes his head. The handsome man stoops to help you to your feet. The young woman just bites her lip and turns away toward the wall. You find yourself inside a medium-sized chamber, about the size of an ordinary office or classroom. The walls are uniform dark gray without walls or windows. There is nothing in the room except for the 3 people, you, and a pair of legs, severed cleanly above the knees. The rest of the body is missing. "Welcome to your eternity," Armitage says despondently. "I assume you're tricked by my dreaming self into coming into the direct contact with the Shogoth. How long have you been stuck in Death Arkham?" You give him your guess, and he grunts again. "Well, I hope for our sakes that someone manages to put together the pieces of the puzzle, or you're doomed to stay here forever. And whatever has taken up residence in my dreaming conscious will find a way through to my waking self." I'm Henry Gibson, says the other man. And this here is Anne Brightman, really. You make your introductions as well, and then you all begin recounting your stories and commiserating on your shared fate. Each one of you is either bound to Death Arkham through overdosing on Nocturne, haunted by nightmares because of a foreign presence possessing their dreaming consciousness. Suddenly, though, there's a light. Your breath catches in your throat as you turn to face the glowing whiteness, which seems brighter than anything you've ever witnessed. Your eyes hurt to look upon it, but you find yourself compelled to. From within the brightness steps 2 figures, and a familiar voice says to you all, "Looks like we owe a debt of gratitude to the Order of Silver Twilight. Professor Armitage, it is I, Pasquale Fenton, here to rescue you." Another familiar voice belonging to the other figure, Carl Sanford himself, answers you, "Damn straight you do, and we'll collect our debt." He tosses you a large vial with the image of a lantern on it. Your investigation is over. Proceed to the questions.
All right.
Well, now.
All right, there are 11 questions and a bonus.
Yeah, we kind of failed.
Not so hasty. All right, first question. I mean, do we want to restart or just do the questions?
I mean,
Restart.
I think we should maybe if we restart before the warehouse, might be a good idea.
Yeah, right before the warehouse.
Because besides that, we were doing
Yeah, not bad.
not bad. The warehouse apparently was. I mean, that would have been the first place I was almost going to go to, so that would have been a very quick game.
Where else would we go? What else would
Oh,
we
we had a lot to do. Fenton.
Yeah, we have to visit Pasquale on the Order of the Soul.
Because if we... Fenton and Slocum I wanted to talk to. Because we can actually do the real Fenton and not that.
Alright, where's Fenton? We'll just retract it.
So are we gonna retcon
Yes.
Hunt stop?
Yeah. Warehouse is reset button.
We went to the speakeasy, right?
Where's Fenton?
L4.
I'm going to L4 to see our savior before he saves us.
Oh, and then also the policeman, Harrison. That'd be interesting.
Dr. Armitage and I did have an appointment to speak the other day, he informs you. The old man has become more convivial of late. Convivial?
Yep.
Okay.
That's a word.
Talkative.
Even as I've become more inclined to help him in matters of interest to both of us. As you can see, I've abandoned some of my more visceral pursuits. The things Armitage and you, by default, have uncovered in the past months are more pressing, I think. He throws his brandy glass violently at the wall behind him, and it bounces back toward you as though it were made completely out of rubber. You duck just in time to avoid getting hit by the projectile. This seems slightly off-putting, and you find yourself patting your pockets looking for an other piece of sock to smoke.
Oh.
Anyway, he adds, Armitage sent a note cancelling at the last moment. Quote, a matter of some grave importance, he said. I was also in contact a mutual friend, Wilma Slocum. I believe you know her. Apparently the old man was supposed to meet with her, Dorothy Davis and Professor Robinson, that day as well. Or the day before. He canceled on them too. Wilma told me that was most unusual of him. She also said he had an appointment with her regarding some search he was conducting in Dream Arkham. I don't know. Fenton's frown deepens. Did you know that Armitage went on an expedition to the Antarctic last year?
Yep.
It was led by Dr. William Dyer in the Miskatonic Geology departments. Words are hard. Armitage and I were to speak about what they found there. It seems that something concerning what the expedition encountered was becoming worrisome to him. Something about the old ones who used to populate the earth before humans or even the dinosaurs. Knowing that I know of Armitage, if he wanted you to go investigate the old warehouses this week, then it had something to do with his new concerns. Should you go exploring, take care. As you know, the old ones are antithetical to the human race. They and their minions, the Shoggoth, formless shapeshifters, able to appear as anything they choose, will not hesitate to destroy you if you are found. You promise you will be careful, and thanking him, take your leave. If you have requirement card 4, proceed to, otherwise you will need to return later. If you have requirement card 5, proceed to, otherwise you will need to return later. So, where are you going?
There's Slocum.
That's a very good question.
I also want to go to administration.
Dun, 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 dun. Where's Slocum?
Did they mention Herbert Corbett a couple of times?
No.
Not in the story.
But I feel like I remember.
Corbett? Which guy's that?
What's his thing?
He's a criminologist.
No.
He's in the local.
Just Garrison.
Yeah. I think
Just
going to
Garrison.
Garrison.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dun, 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 dun.
So we go to the police station. There's Slocum. I want to go to the administrative building because I still want to see if we can find the Ann place.
Just go to the police station. Garrison.
Yeah.
D32.
And that's the police station.
What's it?
Arkham Police Station, D32.
Oh. No.
When you are directed or wish to go to the police station to visit, read both entry 23 and 32. They're both pertinent and should be combined, so
What?
23 and 32.
Yes.
23 and 32?
D23?
Did you say entry or like?
What?
Does that mean the yellow part or the regular?
No. There's just 2 entries, because it says,
Same.
why is there entry D23? It looks to be the police station, but isn't that D32? You're like, oh, just read both of them.
Okay, so
Does
read
it matter
both of them.
what order?
Doesn't say.
So,
So I read D23 and didn't go to
Yeah.
32.
Alright.
Interesting. When you arrive at the Arkham police station, you find Inspector Garrison clearly distracted. Ready to be off catching criminals, he is only able to give you a few moments of his time. Plant? He asks, glancing down at the open file on his desk in front of him. You glance down, but only for an instant. You don't want to give Garrison the impression that you're spying, despite the fact that you are using your ability to read upside down. It's apparently an ability to do just that. You are able to see a note in all caps reading Warehouse West, encircled in red ink.
Warehouse West.
Which warehouses did we go to?
Old.
You are interrupted by Garrison speaking again. Oh, he says absently. The plant. Well, no. I don't think any of my men actually found the plant at the warehouse. I honestly have no idea where he might have had such a thing. And if it really smells the way you describe, I can't imagine why he'd keep it. As for disappearances, you know that we always have a rush of them early in May, apparently. Since then, though, we've dropped to, well, normal levels, which are always unacceptable, of course. Finally, I'd advise you to stay away from the warehouses on the river. They don't care what Armitage says. He looks up at you with a stern gaze. Now, he says, in a no-nonsense tone, if you'll excuse me, I've got some police work to do, and every second we waste may be another life lost. You thank Garrison for his time and make your way towards the exit, remembering what Armitage said about the disturbances in the old abandoned warehouses of Miskatonic. D32. Garrison is not intimate, you are told. In fact, no one is there that you are familiar with. It is as if Garrison fired all of his regulars and hired a new police force. When you ask around for others, you know they give you a shuffle and some paperwork to fill out. This is very bizarre indeed. You still yourself and walk into Garrison's office and you think no one is looking. The only thing you find of interest is a letter to Armitage with a message on it. The deposit box is where I hid it. The key to get inside the deposit box is not held by the bank. We made sure of that and left it with our friend, the cabbie.
The cabbie!
He will keep it safe. Ask for it by name. Take requirement card 15.
To the cabbie!
I mean, weird stuff are happening, so.
Yeah?
But why are we an alien?
Because we drink the water.
Did
We're
we?
not an alien, we're just insane.
Yep, we're just going crazy. Because of the stuff they put in the water.
Cabby, right?
Where's
What
the
is
cabin?
the number?
Gerardo has it. Back page top.
Arlo Hoppin?
Or not.
Arkham Yellow Cat with
Maybe
the
not top. D34.
To the cabin.
6, 9, 12,
Yeah.
13. Day 5.
If you have requirement card 15, turn to supplemental encounters and read entry 13. You do have that, right?
Yep, we just got it.
Nice.
There's nothing before that.
That's it.
Well, because you asked by name.
Advanced Time Tracker 1 space. It takes you a while to track down Arlo's cat. You try at the office headquarters and they told you to walk around the block a few times. Oddly, you do, and eventually Arlo drives by to pick you up. It's muggy outside and you are sweating, and an hour or two has passed. You know something is immediately wrong when Arlo doesn't call you Seamus. Is that her name?
Apparently, we just discovered our name.
He says, "You want the key, don't you?" He asks, not in his chipper voice, but in his very serious voice. You did not know he had a very serious voice. You know. Arlo slams on the brake and screams, turning his head toward you. You see fear and anger in his eyes. Get out! What? Why, you ask, startled. Get out! Arlo reaches over and pulls out a pistol and aims at your head. You are no friend of mine. You are unable to talk. He just interrupts when you do, so you get out very shaken. Before he leaves, Arlo rolls down his window and tosses out a key. Take it. By the way, the security box is no longer at the bank. Corbett has it. Don't know how he got it. I think he's a cat burglar or something, and don't talk to me again. Did they just write this and never read it? No one at the company ever picked it back up. They did a first draft. They were like, "It's good." There's 4 typos, and it's only 3 paragraphs.
Autocorrect is a wonderful thing.
It is useful.
But autocorrect would pick up KNWO.
KNWO?
Obviously, no.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
They had an intern do it.
So Corbett.
Yes.
Corbett.
I knew it.
D45. Yes.
Eventually vindicated.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah, D45 you said?
Yep.
Oh, wait. Did we get a requirement card from this?
No, we got. Oh, I don't know.
What is
Abby?
the supplement we had to do?
What supplement was that?
13?
13?
Just look at the.
Yeah, take requirement card 14. Okay, good. D45.
You're just so do your hot take that you forgot to play the
Corbett
game.
acts as if he's expecting you. His conversation, however, remains casual. He tells you of his past week, mundane as it was, and then offers to have a drink with you at the speakeasy. You decline. He doesn't have any other information for you unless you can think of something more to talk about. If you have requirement card 14, you turn to supplemental encounters and read entry 14.
Have we used requirement card 1 yet? Or no?
No.
Okay.
You and everyone else is looking for that security box, he huffs. But do you have the key? No is always the answer. You drop the key you got from Arlo on his desk. Corbett's eyes lights up and he smiles. Ah, the precious. What? He takes the key and reaches down under his desk. He comes back with the key and throws it back on his desk. You eye him suspiciously when he tells you that it is not the key. Did you just switch my key, you ask? Corbett laughs and acts with it you more suspicious. Then he slams his fist on the desk. Fine! He lifts the box onto his desk. I don't even know what the security box thing is all about anyway. I know there's nothing inside. He places a key into the slot and it opens. It's a letter addressed to you. You open it and it is from Armitage. The letters sometimes drift across the page as you read and you feel dizzy, but you can see it in a clear message from Armitage. The real Armitage. You must cease this line of investigation. This is a red herring. Please listen to me. You are in the Dreamlands. You are locked there. Find a drug there called Lantern, and you will be able to wake up. Go visit Dr. Sutton if you have not. Go visit my home if you have not.
We've done both of those, right?
Yeah.
Which one was Sutton?
Hospital. University Hospital, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the teaching hospital.
So we gotta get drugged up.
Drugs.
How do we get drugs?
Is there more?
That's it. I'm sorry. How did we get onto this again?
We had the pod.
We got the key, and when we found out about the key from
But the cabbie said, "Hey."
We were from Fenton.
From Fenton. We found out about Fenton
From
from his wife. So this is legit.
Wasn't
Okay.
there one encounter where they asked for 14 or 15?
There's one that was 4 or 5.
No, it was 4 or 5.
Gotcha.
That was L4.
Okay.
All right.
So we're in the Dreamlands.
Well, I think we
Kind of explain some things.
explains why we're smoking sock.
And cups are bouncing all over the place, and there's ducks in the clouds.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're trying to feed us.
We haven't been to
so-
Slocum yet, though,
No, not sure.
We haven't done Slocum at all.
How do you get drugs?
Find a drug there called Lantern, and you will be able to wake up. Why is this a red herring, though? We got this from his wife.
We're talking about
Was there
Nocturne.
some mention of Lantern when we were in the intro?
I don't
Yeah,
think
there was one. I think I read a passage. I'm not sure if it was the final one where it said Lantern. There was something.
It wasn't the first one.
I read something that said Lantern at some point. I don't know if it was the one that was.
I don't think it was this mission that we read about.
No. I
Was?
said Lantern at some
Yeah,
point.
somebody we mentioned. We had one mention of a.
It might have been in the
lantern.
warehouse though.
Interesting.
I did say Lantern. I think it was in the warehouse reading. So, but I know you're. I
Yeah.
definitely.
It just sounds like we.
Where are you taking us next?
The
Is there
invisible
any in the
Isle.
newspapers?
They really don't.
I
I'm
visited
really
Isle.
confused as to why the newspapers say there's any sort of usefulness.
Well,
What about,
look up
like-
where Lantern
Like
is.
a pharmacy.
Lantern is a
Well, I know what
Opposite
lantern
drug-
is. I just
okay.
meant, like, look up if they said, like, there's been a lantern bust here. Since we're in the past.
Yeah, I know, 1930.
I'm gonna go off track. Sorry, guys.
I mean, did we have a track?
Yeah, to go to the lady
administration
slope.
building.
Yeah, go to the administration.
Where are you going?
You go to the administration building.
Where
Are
you going?
you?
Where are you going?
Administration.
Well, I mean,
Fine.
what's the
Or
letter?
C25.
C25.
What time of the day is it?
It is right now. It's the
Thank
morning.
God. Fortunately, the administrators and porters recognize you, so you have no problem gleaning from them and Brightman's information. She was an art student who could often be found in the liberal arts building, and she lived across town in the Chelsea House apartments.
Who?
Chelsea House Apartments.
Sorry, Anne?
Yeah, and
Is
Brightman.
that it?
Yep.
And Brightman's a good man. I don't think it's anything there. I was just making a joke.
Should I go there?
I mean, I'm curious.
What about what else?
Is that or
And
the
there's
local
Slocum.
arts
We have
building?
Slocum.
Or Slocum, yeah.
You've been told to go to Slocum by a few people that
Yeah.
are.
Anybody
Slocum's been there
of?
for
And she's the dream person. Anyway.
She's a dream
yeah.
person.
Yep, she's
She
all
might
half
have
the drug.
lantern.
Yeah, let's go Slocum.
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, where's Slocum?
F.
Alright, do you want to play paper?
45.
F. Oh yeah,
Get some water.
that's the
This is
one
really
thing I
salty.
wrote.
Like in a good
I
way,
know.
but like I need milk or
Wait,
something.
is there a way we can all go upstairs and get water?
There's a water fountain. No, the
It's
gym's
closed.
closed. Yeah.
That's what I usually do when it's closed.
Just break in.
How do you go in the gym?
I usually take your key. Have you?
I don't-
Sorry, I've done it like 3 or 4 times.
I don't remember giving you my keys. Like once.
She's a pickpocket, international runner.
Apparently. So F45, French Hill District. Wilma Slocum remembers you from time you spent together in the Dreamlands not long ago. And you remember her. The energetic lady on the downhill slope of middle age, with her short graying hair and wide-rimmed, thick glasses. She greets you enthusiastically on the veranda
She's the one who died.
of her white-framed house near
Someone died
the
during that.
top of the
Mr.
French Hill.
Oh.
Anyways, go ahead.
I don't know.
Is it her?
I just said I don't know.
There was an old lady that died during that.
I do not know. When you tell her the purpose, yeah, because she wasn't in the dream. Anyway, when you tell her the purpose of your visit, her enthusiasm turns dour or sour. You know. Yes, Henry and I were to meet the others for our monthly reading, and yes, he canceled on me last minute. I thought nothing of it then. I was, however, a bit perturbed at the other meeting he missed. This happened later that day. She settles into a rocking chair and waves you to sit in one of the other various chairs scattered around the porch. Surprisingly, after she sits, she whips out a pack of rolled cigarettes and lights one up. As its smoke curls up into the sky, she explains further, ever since discovering that we shared a common ability to visit and... Sorry, to remind myself of Morty. In effect, the world of Dream Arkham, Henry and I have extended our friendship into beautiful land. Into that beautiful land.
Oh.
I've extended our friendship into that beautiful land. Sometimes we pay a visit to Pascal Fenton and the others, but more often it's simply he and I, and sometimes his lovely wife, and sometimes my Paramore.
Paramore.
Totally not.
Cheating on her stuff.
Yes.
Oh no, it's Paramore. Sorry, it's because it's like
Yeah.
dash.
Swinging is what they're doing. Yeah,
Swinging.
they're doing a poly thing. It's okay.
How progressive it is.
Look,
Well, I
Dream
mean-
Swing is clearly like the liberal era in Dreamland.
I mean, there's Dreamlands and there's monsters everywhere. It's kind of like whatever. We're supposed to meet at the University Gardens in Miskatonic Park, but just he and I to discuss something he wanted to help with in Dream Arkham, some sort of search for someone, but he never showed. While I don't know him as well as you do, I think you'll agree that it is unlike him to cancel out his minute. I think she knows him better than we do.
yeah.
It's not
Very
like
friendly.
it's not like him to completely miss an appointment without warning. Well, he gave a warning. He said he canceled. Anyways, at his home as his Home is not far from the gardens. I went there and spoke with his wife. Now remember, this is the Dreamlands version of Henry's wife, so she doesn't see him as often as the version in this world does. But
Susan, what is awful?
she doesn't see him as often as the version in this world does. But she said she hadn't seen him in days, and that, my friends, is highly unusual. So he's missing from Dreamworld, so his Dreamworld wife is like, where is he? I haven't seen him, and that's unlikely. Because they do Dreamworld hookups. Remember that even when people in this world cease to physically exist, they still may in the Dreamlands, especially someone as willful as Henry. It appears, however, that our Dr. Armitage is missing in both worlds, which to my mind means that he's someplace else entirely, or something else is in his place. Wilma wishes you well on your investigation, but admits that she can't help you much further. At least not in this world. I'll keep an eye out on the other side, though. As you're leaving, she calls after you. You know, Pascal has more power in the Dreamlands than I do, and I get the impression that he knows quite a bit more about all these going-ons than I could ever hope to. You might want to pay him a visit and ask him about Henry's disappearance. Scratch that. Disappearances. Take requirement card 4.
Which one do you do requirement card for?
Pascal. He needed 4 and 5. Well,
4 or 4.
if 4 you do 4, 5 you do 5.
So that's 12.
So you can get your requirement cards and you don't have the time limit.
Nope.
Yeah, but we never need them before.
There's the one where you needed both, or else we died in the warehouse.
Do it. I dare you.
Requirement card 4. Go to supplement. Blah, blah, blah.
All 4. Blah, 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 blah.
And he throws another brandy glass at the wall. We're looking for some sock to smoke.
Wilma flatters me, Fenton says, when we tell him what Miss Slocum said. She's not wrong, however. I have indeed grown in ability in traversing dream arcing. And I was always better suited to it than either her or old man Armitage. There's a lot of typos in this.
Yeah.
I feel like everything I read there wasn't really that much. So maybe it's just the supplement requirement stuff.
Maybe.
Now, what your mentor wanted there I can only guess. However, based on what he was researching before he disappeared, and based on what you've told me, I believe he was looking for someone other than Carl Sanford at the Order of the Silver Twilight, who could give him the proper incantation to mend certain mystical devices. Did he find such a person before he disappeared? I guess we will never know. Still, this might be an important lead to your investigation. Ask yourself, why would Armitage want to meet Wilma Slocum at Miss Botanic Park?
So he was trying to find Carl Sanders up there?
Yeah.
But we're in a dream.
What was the guy's name?
But everyone thinks we're in a real world.
The guy's name was Carl Sanford.
We had that name. No, we had
Sandford.
Craig Danforth.
Well, no, Carl Sanford was the guy who busted in when we got ate by the shark. Along with the passport.
Alright.
You guys sing the Order of the Silver Twilight?
Yeah, that's what we're next.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, 18.
Can we get into it? Oh, no, you won't.
No.
There's no Miskatonic part.
I mean, Miskatonic is like the whole area,
So where's the part?
sort of. Wait, hold on. Let's see if that might be in the Uptown Park.
Oh, wasn't that one of the erratas because we were chasing?
That was the errata
yeah.
for the first one.
No, that was just like.
For Chevy.
Yeah, because we were chasing around the
We
Mr.
couldn't
Dude.
find. Of course, I mean that was a horrible place to go to.
Yeah,
But
it's like
that
essentially.
was the only delay one we got though.
Wait, this is LAT and is Silver Twilight?
Yeah.
Where is Carl Sanford?
Why is it a blank? Is there no entry?
No, it's Lyman.
It's the best in layman.
Yeah, she went. Yeah, we want Sanford. That's U56.
Should we do Silver Twilight anyways?
I mean, I was thinking we should go there anyway, but if you want to do Sanford first.
Well, it sounds so. Armitage wanted to get a mystical device, so
Yeah.
whatever mystical device that stuff is there.
Because Carl Sanford is the leader of the Turk. But
Yeah.
Okay.
Lyman's still someone good.
Yeah, the lineman's the
Mole.
he's the mole.
Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Wait, are you still at L18?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
just do it because I already wrote an exam. I fucked out. You rap 3 times on Sebastian Lyman's back screen door, and after several minutes, he arrives. He's wearing a wrinkled, loose-fitting pinstripe suit, but his waxed mustache is immaculate. You ask him about Watney's miraculous fertilizer.
Sure.
I did that. And he laughs. I'd be a liar to tell you I wasn't proud of that little coup. One of the young cultists from the Order of the Silver Twilight made a wonderful potion of vitality, but alas, it only worked on flora, not fauna, as was its original intent. I managed to procure a few drams of the potion without anyone at the lodge noticing. I'm not going to invite you in, but you should see my houseplants and behold my garden. Lyman waves past you, and you turn around to see that he speaks true. The small lot is overgrown with vines and stalks. A small arbor nearby is veritably sagging with the weight of its grapes. Naturally, I also saw an opportunity for making a little money on the side. Dr. Watney, W-A-T-N-E-Y, was most enthusiastic about purchasing a tiny vial of the potion. I'm not sure where he got the funds for it, though. You ask Lyman if he has any of the elixir left, and he frowns. No, I'm afraid I do not. With that, your interview with the dapper cultist ends, and you continue your investigation elsewhere.
Six,
There is no Watney.
15.
I've been trying to find Watney. I don't know where he is.
Wait, did we?
Yeah, well, we found the geologist next time.
3, 6, 9, 12,
That was the
15, 16, 17. Oh, I forgot to move it for Abby's.
Alright.
So there's the guy.
No, it's morning.
Morning.
So I can go to Carl. I can go to the boarding house.
Yeah.
The dorm.
Her
I mean,
house,
level
or
arts
she's
thing.
We went to pretty much everyone in the handbook and useful handbook.
So there's nothing but the garden or park thing in that.
It's up, down. There's Uptown Park. Uptown Park location U67 is located on to the left of U10. Appears as a vacant brown box.
Yeah, we know that. That's right.
Independence Square. M1. Talk about M1.
Oh, but what about this story-specific ones? There's nothing to do with the park.
No, it has to do with requirement X and an entry, a spoiler, and something else that.
Okay.
I guess I gotta call. I want to. It feels like the responsible thing
That's you.
Me what? You was you.
U56.
Dun, 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 dun,
to.
dun.
Carl Sanford refuses to see you, but this time the Order's members at least deign to entertain you for a short time in the central atrium. The only line of questioning that doesn't get stonewalled by the small, officious, bespectacled Order member named Alex who sees you is that of Henry Armitage. He'll give you nothing regarding plants or plant food, nothing on strange disappearances or occurrences, nothing on anything that smacks of otherworldly observations or entities. On the subject of Armitage, though, he says, Mr. Sanford is quite distraught with the old librarian's latest slight. Even after all the insults and injuries Armitage has perpetrated on our order, Mr. Sanford agreed to meet with them about the unusual animals hunters have recently seen outside Arkham. They were to meet at the ice house, but then the old man didn't show. Rude doesn't even begin to describe it. If you have requirement card 7 and 8, if you go to supplemental encounters, read it in number 7. Ice house. It's literally it's just
I've never heard that before.
Look at the ice house.
Where's the ice house?
Is there
Good
even a
question.
thing called that?
I don't know. You tell us. Oh, directory one.
But seriously, where's the list of parks here?
Yeah.
There's no list of parks. But
Ice,
what's
ice
the
house,
park?
There
that,
is an ice house.
E7.
But what's the park that was the errata park? What was the number for that?
U18.
Uptown Park is U67.
So U67?
But it was the Miskatonic Park, you said.
I mean, not everything. Like,
I mean, if that's the only park.
I think like 2 or 3
Yeah,
parks.
yeah, you have Northside Park.
What?
Yeah. So that's
Oh,
what was
park.
it? What was the ice house?
That's at Hill. Kind of like park. With
No.
the slope.
E7.
E7.
It's not the list of parks.
Is that where we're going?
Other stuff. But it's parks.
I know, I'm trying to find it. School, clubs, sports, stores, transportation, university. No, it's not back there. Builders warehouse. Restaurants, residential, other locations.
Other locations? The shore, you're gonna visit an isle, newspaper. Residential private? No. Residential student? No. Government? There's not the parks
Local
there?
government, town hall, fire station.
There's not a place where the parks are.
Local culture, local
Culture is nice.
art, diners, financial institutions, churches.
Church is abandoned. It's a little hard thing. They don't have parks as a list.
They didn't park back then.
Oh, there's enough parks to have more than one.
They had parks.
They just said they didn't park. back then.
Okay, so she was at the liberal arts
Go to
building.
park and park stuff.
So there's liberal arts building.
There's the ice house.
I'm going to liberal arts building.
What number is that?
C15.
I just want to look through things to figure this out.
The Brightman. I don't know. I just want to see what it is.
It's the afternoon.
They said.
Not there.
What inch was that from?
That was
C25.
What?
when you went to administration.
What?
Which
Have you ever
was
played Pilots in Korea?
C25.
No.
Liberal arts building. So where's the
I have
liberal
not.
arts building?
Liberal arts building is
Would
C15.
be interesting again.
Where's
don't
the
know.
Chelsea House apartment?
Like, I know it takes forever, but I feel like I can get the same experience from like Empire of the Void or Zaya. I mean,
Is that where we're going?
or Eclipse.
And
That's
And-
the only thing is like I could probably play 2 of those games and get the
No.
close enough experience. So that's my only thing.
Of course.
Gotcha.
And
Where are we going?
M56, of course. And Brightman's apartment at Chelsea Apartments is just what one might expect of a bohemian, free-spirited artist. Posters have pride of place on most walls. Charlie Chaplin posters of flappers in fashionable dress, posters of Cinderella, Lon Chaney, and Louis Armstrong. Smelling up from his trumpet as though he were aware of the effect his music was having on the listener, and he approved. Among the posters are paintings and drawings, most likely by Brightman herself. You peer closely at these, smiling at some of the sunny, life-filled renderings. Your smile falters as you head deeper into the apartment. The posters are still there, but some of them have been torn, leaving haphazard sweeps of indecipherable images tacked on the walls. Others have been drawn or painted over with images of creatures awful in their menacing aspect. Words have been drawn or painted on and around the images themselves. Cthulhu is one of the most prevalent words, but there are others. Here, Sothoth and Marduk, Loigor and Shoggoth.
Interesting.
These are written on the torn posters on the walls, even on the ceiling. Can you hear me? A dreamlike voice resounds in your head again. Your friend Henry has come to see you. However, you must give me verbal permission to let him see you. You try to respond, but only a terrible string of gibberish escapes your mouth. Once again, you shake the vision away. Without knowing how you get there, you find yourself in Anne's bedroom, sitting on her unmade bed, crying and whispering words you do not understand. On the nightstand next to you is a small vial with a palish liquid within. Lantern, the label reads. Under it is a strange, glowing sigil. You pocket it, almost at That is when you notice that several of the paintings light up against the wall show perspectives that appear to be from ground level. Looking up at a specific spot on the Arkham horizon, each succeeding picture appears closer to the spot than the one before. The final painting appears almost directly below a particular building, although you can't be sure which building it is. Take requirement card 6.
Oh, wow. I was thinking it was 8 or 5.
If you have requirement cards 2 and 6, proceed to supplement encounters and read entry number 2. I think I read an entry before that said if you have requirement card 6.
I did not make note of it.
I didn't
So, we got Lantern.
How do you take it?
I think it's just like you need it at a certain time and then you drink it.
Where's the first place I went to?
The first place you went to is number 5, which is D61, which is Boo.
Which is what?
No, Science Hall. With William Dyer.
Right, yeah.
C12.
Where else did I go? To C12. What was the next place I went to?
C12 is requirement card 1.
You went to M40 and you killed us.
That was it? Okay.
Dang it.
No, that first one, if you have requirement card 3 for the...
And then you went to C25, which is the Chelsea, where you found out about the Chelsea.
Gotcha.
All right.
So, where are you going to
What was fascinating about the Ice House again?
That thing, we're going to meet there with.
go? There's another canceled appointment.
Sure.
Cross it.
E7. Why
And
not?
also remember when we talked to...
Is there any other places?
When we talked to the guy, he said make sure you try to figure out why they wanted to go to the park.
Yeah, but we need to find the park. And we
Yeah,
can't
I know.
figure out where the damn park is.
Is that because they want to see the...
Let's go to E7.
I mean, if this is a dreamland, sometimes there's friggin' infestations in places.
Maybe the Ice House is really a park.
I'm just irritated that there's multiple parks in the city and
Yeah.
there's not a place to find that because, like, that's. There's no way.
E7, East Town District. No one is present at the Ice House on East Water Street, and the lights are off. As you step into the darkened space, your flashlight reflects off glass cases. Your flashlight reflects off glass cases, behind which rest perishable goods: bread, glass jars of milk from local farms, pastries wrapped in tight-fitting paper wrappers, fruits, and cheese. Off to the side, cordoned off to avoid accidents, are 2 13 by 18 foot pits.
Okay.
You do a double take and stare, and a slack-jawed wonder at what they contain. In each pit, resting on top of a huge slab of ice, is a deer. You realize that one unusual carcass is all the pit can hold. These are some big deer. All right, each animal is about twice the size of an adult Clydesdale.
Wow.
And you estimate that were it standing erect, each would approach 20 feet tall. This, you surmise, is what Armitage meant to show to his peers in the reading club. Backing out of the warehouse... Oh, I saw it's the warehouse. Okay. Backing out of the warehouse, you resolve to show someone yourself, in hopes that he can verify that you're not crazy. Take requirement card 3.
Yay.
Which is the science hall.
Yeah.
If you want to go there.
Well, it's not my turn. But
Oh.
if you have requirement card 1,
Yeah.
proceed to supplement encounter 1.
Whoa, nice. You're going to get all the requirement cards.
And then we're gonna get penalized like 18 points.
But we're going to know everything.
We will.
Oh, great. As you stare at the gigantic deer on their respective blocks of ice, you recall something that Professor Dyer said to you about how the creatures in Antarctica had oversized penguins as a food source.
Oh.
Could it be that these beasts are similar to the penguins which Dyer saw? And if so, what exactly is planning to feast on them? I wonder. Where did these giant deer come from? I wonder. As you focus on the giant corpses, your vision fades again, and when it begins to refocus, you see it disheveled. Disheveled?
Disheveled.
Oh, yeah. Okay. disheveled Armitage staring at you through a glass window on a door. "Find a lantern," he says, banging on the door while two men dressed in white pull him away. "Take the lantern to find your way back." You shake the vision, strange as it may be, and try to focus on the mystery at hand. The two deer awaken and attack you and maul you to death.
Really?
No. That last part was
How
just...
do you take the lantern?
That was not the one supplement.
Well, it sounded like we need requirement card 2.
That was not the spoiler supplement. You said there was one supplement that was a spoiler.
Yeah, there's a spoiler supplement.
There's not like, if you want to take the lantern. But
yeah,
if you want to go...
I think we're getting closer to spoilers now. I won't read it if you don't want to read it.
C12 is the...
Okay. What location was?
That was the science hall.
Oh, no. That spoiler was...
Central?
What was it?
I'll tell you later.
Spoiler.
It wasn't that big of a deal.
Did it spoil it for you?
No, not really.
What was it?
C12.
Cool.
And that's requirement card 3.
Did we have requirement card 6?
Yep. That's where we got the lantern.
C12's the science one,
I think so.
C12 is Science Hall, where we found out about...
Or
Dying.
C15, whatever it was.
I think it's
Wait, were you going to
C12.
C... 15 or 12?
It should be 12.
We never went to C15.
No.
Yeah, C12
That's
science
C12.
hall.
It should be at the end. It says...
Yeah, where they tell you the expedition thing.
Level large building. That was interesting.
If you have requirement card 3, proceed to supplemental encounters. Entry number 3. Good.
Wow.
What a shock.
Parts. Just give me damn parts.
As Dyer was speaking, your ears perked up a bit upon his mentioning the oversized penguins that he encountered. You described the deer that you saw in the ice house to him, and his eyes grew wide in response. That goes a long way to confirming my suspicion that indeed we brought something back. Somehow it has managed to gain access to another giant food source, as well as a means of storing it on ice, just like an Antarctica.
That's it?
Yep.
Well, no, what was the deer for? Oh, look, Shogoth wants to eat them and keep them preserved.
We don't do that though.
Yeah.
23!
We assumed. Never
Aha!
23.
Wait.
Nope, I'm just...
Yeah,
There's another...
What number do you
that I'm
have?
reading on errors in the Faceless. And it
That's
says, are you
21.
looking for a park? Is it Miskatonic Park? Go to U68.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Well, on your turn you can do that. No, so one of them we had a +1. Oh, I guess technically, because I kept the M40.
Oh. So I did that as a 10. Counted M40 and L4 as 10 together.
We still count each time you go there as a...
And there's a +1.
There was a +1. So theoretically we are on 22 if you didn't count Brian's
Yeah.
M40. I counted Brian's M40.
So we're on 22. We're going to go to U68 because...
Yeah, what else are we going to do? Yes, we're looking for a park.
Yeah, and that is U68.
Alright. Miskatonic Park is surrounded on the east end by the residences of several of the university's upper administration and faculty. On the west end, the grounds alternate between acres of green lawn and chest-high manicured hedgerows. University students often use the grounds for sports or for idyllic study sessions or for occasional trysts. Some are here now, even as you stroll around yourself, looking for the tree Wilma Slocum said she was supposed to meet Armitage under. Eventually you find the tree, a spectacular maple which Wilma said was even more magnificent than Dream Arthur, though you can't imagine a tree more magnificent than this. Ornaments made by elementary students citywide hang in the lowest branches, and it is evident that the tree has survived a long ago lightning strike which scarred its massive north side. Once you find the tree, it takes little or no time for you to stumble across a shiny object in the grass. It sparkles a brilliant white against the shady green, and when you stoop to pick it up, you instantly realize that it is part of something bigger, something powerful, and something of vital importance. Take requirement card 8.
Boom.
Where did you need requirement card 8?
Was that
We
like...
did 7 and 8 on one of the encounters that I read. And I think it was one of the encounters with...
But we don't have 7.
Yeah, but we needed 7 and 8. But I forget who the encounter was with. But it was one of the ones that I did recently.
And then one of the ones I said had 2.
Actually, are you looking for a requirement card that doesn't exist? Is it requirement card 2?
What?
What?
It doesn't.
There's no way to
I seriously can't find anywhere weird.
Are you like cheating?
Oh, I'm reading a thread that says it's fixing errors in the
Same thing as
Got a PDF document.
Well, you know, I'm on a thread, so each have our own methods here.
Where are you going?
That's a good question.
to ask how to take the
Oh,
It's probably like you probably go to the Shogoth Showdown and you probably like, oh look, everything's about to eat you. Drink.
No,
Hey, look.
that was
what did we
already
need for
9.
that?
Oh.
That was 9.
That was 9?
So, otherwise, oh,
God, I'm just so. What did I go to? Because it was 7 and 8.
All right, so
was it Slocum? No,
you
Slocum
first
was
went to
someone else.
C11, and we found out that we're weird. And then you went to U8, which people were drinking the water.
Yeah.
And then you went to
It's more recent.
It was recent.
D45 Sutton, where we get basically Sutton says get drugged up at D45, and then you did the U56 where you found out about the ice house.
Corbett? I did Corbett because it was the key. It was the box, wasn't it? You needed the box.
Yeah, you
It
couldn't.
might have been, but we don't have to.
Yeah.
What else are you going to do?
I think that was D45 where
wait, did I see? Was it the wizard dude that was in it?
the wizard dude.
The going to the order of the whatever.
Oh, Silver Twilight?
Yeah. Oh, I also did that one.
L4,
So you went to C11, U8, D45, and then U56.
Did you 56?
And that's where we found out about the ice house.
And that was where you needed 7. Okay, so what leads do we have still?
Oh, none.
We finished the Brightman. We've kind of finished Slocum. We already went to his home.
Was there something like going to Armitage's office? Or...
No, because it was under construction.
Well, I meant like some like the origin thing, because like what I read about the lantern was kind of like go home, and like, well, no,
But not that we know.
we just don't know her last name. It was just more so like it sounded like he was saying like take the lantern with you to this spot to use it, because like he was saying like take the lantern home or like take it with you.
I said to go home. Take lantern to go home.
Yeah.
Which is more like just take it to get out of Dreammark.
We could go to a different warehouse. Because isn't it... We went to the old...
We went to the old, there's an east one.
And they were talking about...
You
We
talked
went to
about
the
the
ice
west
house.
one.
That was a good warehouse to go to.
Not really warehouses. There's the east room warehouses.
When we talked to Garrison, didn't he say that a different set of warehouses? It was
There was
found
a
in a
note,
different set
and it
of
said-
warehouses.
I think it was maybe he was talking about the ice house because that's a
He said the
warehouse.
west warehouse?
It said
Yes.
warehouse
Something like
west, but there's
Yeah.
no warehouse west.
So
Well,
which warehouse is the most
Is
west?
there? Yeah.
Where's the...
Warehouse
M1,
West.
M9.
Well, I think M39 is mistakenly not on this, because there's 2 M40s. So.
Yeah. You could try.
East.
I just don't know if this is supposed to be M39.
Yeah, there's no.
That would be the easternmost. We went to M40 already, right?
That'd be the western ones.
Yeah, M39 would be the west.
We're
one.
on the east side
Yeah.
of the map.
See if there's an entry friend there.
Yeah, we'll see.
Guess where you're going?
No.
What else have we gone? The Invisible
This is a
Island.
Aaron
first.
gone down
Is there an entry from Visitor?
Which one is it again?
M9.
Stop
Okay.
it.
No.
We
I'm so sad. It's a tradition, damn it.
so we went to the park. We never,
Yeah, the last time we went to it was pointless.
we never
The
found.
one time.
So,
Every
Go
other
to
time
Chelsea?
we went there.
Did we go to?
Yeah.
Oh, we went there, right? And
We
we got
never
the lantern from there.
Yeah, we never went to the botanist.
But we never found the botanist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the, Watley doesn't have an entry, right? Like, Watley is
It sounds like we're able to find him, but I don't know where we find him.
He's not in there with his last
I
name.
feel like the plants are whatever.
There's a
anyways.
Miskatonic Valley Paranormal Society.
No.
That sounds interesting.
Come on, we've never been there. M11.
M11?
Yeah.
Let's save that as a backup. Is there any other ideas here?
Nope.
Is M11 on there? Is that like a thing? Is that like a place where we find one of the people that we can use? Okay.
Watney we can't find.
We've gone to pretty much every.
The only other people who've been mentioned
Wasn't there two different requirements we could take to M40 with us?
What about Winston Coyle, the guy that owned the
I think it
warehouse
was
who died
4 or
in?
5.
M40 was 9.
We have 4.
You already did that.
No, that was mine. Going to Pascal, you needed 4 and 5. But wasn't there 2 different requirements we could take to the M40?
No, we needed 9 for M40.
But wasn't there
M40?
another one?
Oh no,
Nope, it's just 9.
it was 9.
Okay. Alright, where are you going, Brett? No, actually, yes, it is you.
Yeah, the only names that we haven't followed up on are Watney, the botanist,
Robinson and Davis, but
Robinson Davis, Winston Coyle, the guy that owned the warehouse we died in. That we're no longer dead in.
That was a bad dream, that's why.
Yeah.
Dream, get it?
I don't get it.
you can go to admin spoilers.
So go to Coil. Where's my
Okay,
place?
I'll do this at Paranormal Society.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it has an entry.
Where is this?
M11?
Wow.
Coyle does have a location. That's M69 for possibly.
As you cautiously approach the warehouse? M11, right?
Don't ask me.
Yeah.
M11?
Apparently.
Okay. You notice a... Wait. As you cautiously approach the warehouse, you notice a greenish glow coming from somewhere within. Around you are stacks of crates, some of which appear to be streaked with a dark substance. The mottled patterns and colors of it remind you of the vase in Armitage's office. A myriad of colors appear and shift in swirling in patterns under the dim light. This is the Paranormal Society?
I just Miskatonic Valley Paranormal Society, M11.
As you reach the edge of the greenish light, you can see one of the crates has been opened, and some of the contents have spilled onto the floor. Carefully, you reach for the debris and, moving aside some crumpled paper, find what looks to be like a pendant. Pocketing the item, you turn to inspect the source of the greenish glow. When something bellows the word "Tekelili, Tekelili," the light explodes.
Shit.
And it seems to be coming from everywhere at once. You may or may not have screamed in response. Then another noise rises under the bellowing cry, a whistling sound, one that you've heard before, in Dr. Armitage's office. Tekelili, Tekelili, the sound comes again, in a voice not of this world. You look around and see the green glow spreading throughout the warehouse, creeping up the walls and winnowing through the air. You flee, and at the edge of your vision, you think you see the walls and ceiling moving, undulating like waves of the plaster chipping and the rafters splintering. A powerful blow knocks you back into one of the crates. You bang your head so hard that your vision blurs and you nearly lose consciousness. "Doctor!" a distant, disembodied voice shouts in your head. "I think he's coming too," but it fades as quickly as your vision returns. Shaking your head, you make it to the door and stagger out where a policeman is making his rounds. "We must go!" you scream at him, and then you pass out. Take requirement card 5.
Yay.
Move the time marker forward 2 spaces to account for your unconsciousness. Then proceed to supplemental encounters and read requirement 10.
This is the rata where it's like, just go read 10. And people are like, what do I do?
This must be the Westerly warehouse.
Yes.
In a dream state, you look around at your surroundings. A padded room, a middle-aged doctor with coffee on his breath shines a light in your eyes. "Do you understand me?" You want to answer, but something's restraining you. The vision begins to fade away. You wake up amongst cots in the back of the police precinct, dizzy and disoriented from your encounter in the darkened warehouse. After Mickey Toll and a young officer named John Elgin give you some aspirin and hot soup, you find yourself ready to take on Garrison's ire. When you visit his office, you're able to relate to Garrison all about the strangeness of your initial encounter with Dr. Armitage and all the things which have now led you to believe that perhaps it wasn't Armitage that you first encountered. For some reason, your old employer and mentor led you into a trap, and you're probably lucky that it didn't end differently. "You shouldn't have gone into that warehouse," Inspector Garrison growls at you after explanation. "Well," he says after grinding his teeth for a moment, "I guess I should say I'm glad you're alive. Because I am. And also, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised by your impertinence. After all, look at who your mentor is. Or was, if what you've told me so far is accurate." Garrison reaches 2 fingers into his mouth, removes his tongue to inspect it, scowls, and replaces it. He licks his lips to continue. You should know that I've sent men to the old warehouses to follow up on what you've told us, and they've reported back that the whole structure is gutted and empty. There's quite literally nothing in the building. No crates, no debris, no dark substance. There's no glass in the windows even, which wasn't the case when my men did their initial swoop there a week ago. If you went back there, I'm pretty certain you wouldn't find anything helpful. Now, though, I believe your mission has changed, hasn't it? You're no longer looking for whatever it was Armitage sent you into the warehouse for. Now you're looking for Armitage himself to find out what happened to him. He's definitely not at his office. My men made sure of that. As for that pendant you're carrying, perhaps you should take it to Pasquale Fenton. We'll help you in your investigation as best as you can, but with the sheer amount of reports coming in lately, I'm afraid my department won't be as involved as we'd like. Good luck. Here's hoping Armitage isn't dead and you find him before it's too late. As you get up to leave, you feel a little dizzy and the voice in your head returns. It's too late, nurse. He's out again. Lock him back up. He'll come back out of it when he's ready.
Nice. We're crazy.
We're crazy.
Everyone's
This whole thing was.
Are you supposed to like read both of them? If this is like, hey, if you have a requirement card, read this, because like the Pascal Fenton thing says if you have 4, do that, but then it says 5. So if you get 5, you...
I think it was worded a little different. What location was it?
Pascal was
L4.
yeah.
It just says otherwise you'll need to return later to access this requirement. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of telling you like,
Okay, yeah, you're
and
talking
it
about.
did tell us to go there. Okay, so that was the West Warehouse.
Yeah.
Are we going to fences?
So that was not the paranormal.
It's not the Paranormal
No,
Society.
that was the West Warehouse.
Go to L4.
Yeah. Go to the supplemental 5.
I mean, we don't have to end our journey at the warehouses.
We definitely don't, because
We have
find
to get
Armitage.
everything.
We're going everywhere.
Well, guys, guess what?
We die.
Have you ever seen one of these before? You asked Fenton, pulling up the pendant you retrieved from the warehouse. Fenton fixes his gaze on the pendant, his expression going blank, his eyes glazing over. You think to shake him or snap your fingers in front of him to bring him out of it, but something restrains you. Instead, you lean forward, holding the pendant even closer. Fenton's eyes appear to glow with an inner light that is somehow linked to the object. He whispers something, but you can't hear it clearly at first. Tackle-wee, he whispers. He goes quiet for a moment, and then he whistles. A chill steals over you as you recognize the tune you heard.
Oh
You
shit.
first heard
We
coming
just
from
infected him.
your mentor's office. It is the language of the Shogoth, in the speech of their masters, Fenton intones. His eyes still focus solely on the pendant. He nods his head towards it. Whoever possessed this pendant before you was protected from the Shogoth and their masters to a certain extent, able to gain safe passage to wherever it was you needed to go. The owner has lost this pendant, and considering where you found it, probably also lost his life. Alas, though, this pendant is incomplete. Look! At the center there was an indentation where a jewel stone was once inlaid, but the jewel's missing. That might account for the fact that its owner discarded it. I would be willing to bet that if you found the jewel, you could reunite the disparate pieces and gain the limited protection the former person had. Although, what you'd use that protection for is beyond me. I can only think of one place where you could easily find the incantation needed to mend the pendant. Your favorite place, the clubhouse of the Order of the Silver Twilight. Take 7.
Ooh.
Hey, guess what we have?
A wonder 7 and 8?
What do we need 7 for?
We need 7 and 8,
Yeah, we need
I
7
think,
and
to go
8.
to the
At
club
this-
of the clubhouse
The clubhouse.
of the Order of the Silver Twilight.
Silver monkeys.
What did we get from 8 again? It was the Miskatonic Park, right? Wait, did we find a jewel in Miskatonic Park?
Yeah. Well,
Oh.
we found something.
We found a shiny thing in the tree, right?
We found a
We
lot
did.
of
We
things.
found something in the ground underneath the tree, and then it was like when you're pulling at it, you realize it's much more than you expected, but it doesn't say what it is.
But we got an
We just took a
M8.
requirement
It was U68 is what it was.
Alright.
Was
Yeah.
the park.
Well, where do we go for this?
Requirement card.
We go to U56?
Yeah.
Is that where the
Oh, Silver Twilight?
Yeah, Silver Twilight folks, Carl Stanford or whatever.
L18.
No, it's not. I don't think it's others.
Yeah.
L18 was
It's
Abbey.
not the mole. We don't want
That
to
was
go to
the
mole. We want to go
Botany and
to,
Botany.
Oh, you want to go to Mr. Dude?
we want to go to Carl Sand.
Which is U56.
That was the ice house.
U56.
Ice House is E7.
We found out about the ice house at
Gotcha,
U56.
gotcha.
So we think U56 is the.
We got, I
seven-
think we need 7 and 8 to do that.
Yeah, I think it was that one.
All right, let's see.
Was that or another location?
See if
It was
you.
either U56 or L18.
It's not.
It's not L18. You... It wasn't 56.
You 56?
Nope.
May I read that?
It's just
Yeah, what's that little thing say?
that one.
Oh, wait. Yeah, it does. Never mind.
Alright. There we
You
go.
68, we got requirement A. Alright.
7 and 8, right?
So where are we going?
56, Armitage, Dr. Sanford, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Alright, if you have 7, 8, proceed to supplement and read entry 7.
There we go.
He's going to give us number 9, hopefully.
You implore Alex to let you talk to Stansford, even going as far as to show him the pendant in the gemstone you found in Miskatonic Park.
Nice.
When you hold them aloft, his eyes grow wide and he pardons himself, leaving the room. Hours later, you find yourself in the inner sanctum of the Order of the Silver Twilight, and Carl Stanford scowling at you across an ornate table. The pendant and the gemstone have been fitted together and placed at the center of the table, and several hooded figures stand to your right, chanting a strange incantation which fills your ears as well as your head. As they intone they resonate song. The gem begins to glow with a brilliant white light. It flares to a brightness that makes you have to look away. You notice that Sanford himself also has to look away. Then the glow dies down to where it's only faint, with a slight pulse to it, almost like a heartbeat. There, Carl Sanford says, scooping up the re-enchanted pendant. Before he became a pain in the neck, I gave your mentor the pendant. I suspect that my gift to him, though well received, caused him to doubt the secular nature of the Silver Twilight. Well, now his doubts have been proven, and you all know part of the truth. We are not entirely secular in nature, but neither are we your enemy. Use the pendant well, find whatever it is you're looking for, and bring your master back. He and I have much to discuss. Stanford gruffly accepts your thanks, and Alex sees you to the door. You leave the Silver Twilight Clubhouse with the repaired artifact now. Now, what is its purpose? Take required card 15.
What?
No. 15's already there.
Yes, I know.
It's 9.
It's 9.
Okay.
So, who wants to go to M40? I think that's
To the warehouse.
Yeah, you don't need to read that again. Read supplement 9.
But we don't know what happened.
Well, we go back to the warehouse.
We find Armitage. That's our mission.
But we don't know what happens at M40.
It's a long one.
Instinctively, you take a deep breath and hold aloft the enchanted pendant. It erupts in a brilliant flash of spectacular light, a prismatic ray which chases away the darkness and makes the ground solid under your feet again. You become a bright, brilliant lantern, banishing all but light. You look around to find yourself in a medium-sized gray wall chamber, roughly the size of an office or a classroom. In the room are 3 people, standing next to the strange pair of legs, severed cleanly above the knees, but with the rest of the body missing.
Huh, this sounds familiar.
All 3 people are covering their faces with their arms to keep out the brightness of the light emanating from your pendant. But you can still see what they look like, and one of them is Armitage. You found it, he explains, edging closer to you. Whatever had taken hold of you here has been banished. The nightmares can finally cease. Rather than being smug, you smile at your mentor and lower the shining jewel to your side, so that everybody can see better. When you do, Armitage waves at the others and makes introductions. One of the other people is a handsome, well-dressed man named Henry Gibson. The other is Annie Brighton. How about the legs? The legs belong to my friend Edmund Castle, says Gibson. I don't think he survived. You assure Gibson that Castle didn't indeed survive, but that he is much worse for wear than they are. And you begin to tell them all the things which have transpired since they disappeared. Armitage interrupts you, however. Yes, it's all very well. You can give me a full accounting when we return to the physical world. But first, let's do just that. He reaches out and touches the pendant, which morphs into a large vial with the image of a lantern on it. You drink. Oh, look at that lantern.
We have more like.
Suddenly, reality shifts again. The room disappears into utter blackness. But then the blackness begins to recede, and you can see dim light creeping into the edges of your vision. The light takes shape, and you realize that it is coming through the sterile window in Arkham Sanitarium. Looking around, you see an observing doctor and nurse standing in the doorway of your cell. and the relieved form of Henry Armitage being removed. "Awake at last," he says with a smile. "If it weren't for you, I may never have slept again." With a deep breath, you swear to stay awake for the rest of your life. The investigation is over. Proceed to the question section.
Dun, dun, dun.
Well, now.
Yep. All right. There are 11 questions and a bonus. All right. What has happened to Professor Henry Armitage?
He was eaten by a shoggoth.
Was he? Is that eaten?
I mean, he was trapped by a shoggoth.
He was replaced by Dream Professor.
It was replaced by the dreamy version of him, and he was
So
somehow trapped
dreamy.
within the fleshy warehouse.
Dun, dun, dun. All right. What creature is living near the Miskatonic riverfront? Yeah. All righty. What is the Miskatonic University student that has had visions of that creature?
And right
Right now. 4. How did she express her visions?
Vague.
Or
How dare you combine her vision? What artifact will protect its bearer from the creature in question? What is it? Empowered.
It's just the gym wasn't in the setting.
Requirement card 9.
What has happened to you before the start of the investigation?
You're in the dreamland.
Yeah.
7. What is the purpose of the corpse plants?
To hide the smell of the shoggoth and or dream. I think shoggoth are kind of smelly.
Well, I mean, they probably don't shower. Why was Armitage going to meet with Dorothy Davis, Leonore Robeson, and Wilma Slope?
For a dramatic reading of a play and maybe swimming.
So talk about the gym.
Well, no, that was only Slocum. That was the other one.
There's 3 reasons.
Reasons.
I don't know. Play, sex, and beer.
Sure.
I mean, what's in the ice house?
Right here. Weirdly large.
20 feet tall deer.
Super large.
What happened to Edmund Castle?
He is insane. His legs got off. Where he has dementia. I feel like a psychologist would have a lot of problems with how this setting does mental illness.
Who holds an incantation that will heal the broken artifact? Sanford.
Carl Stanford.
Bonus. An early article in the Advertiser asserted that lantern was a fictional drug made up by whom? Oh, look.
Shut up.
I told you to look up lantern newspaper.
Yes.
It was one of the really early ones. It was one of the editorial articles, I think.
Local sports.
Sports.
To the editor.
Da 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 da. You ever not say it right?
I don't think it's this one.
Is that all the notes for this? Wow. Going all out.
There's one about a drug.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
I just like to know what's going
Well, it makes sense.
on. I wonder if it's not good for us.
I can see that.
I mean, I feel like
Are you?
you took like 26.
Yes, naturally.
Made up by wood.
We'll see. We'll have to add up our points first.
Wait, what's the
What's the question? We
Who's
found
the made up by who? Who made up the fictional drug? By whom? Fictional drug made up by whom? 13.
That's what Garrison says. It's made up. I know it seems
All
odd,
right.
but
What has happened to Professor Armitage? His dream self has been captured by Shogoth. 5 points. What creatures living in the Miskatonic riverfront? Shogoth, 5 points. Who is Miskatonic University student and has Anne Brightman? 3 points. How did she express her visions and paintings? 2 points. What kind of fictional artifact will protect its bearer from creature in question? A magical pendant. 3 points. What happened to you before the start of the investigation? You overdosed on Nocturne and went insane.
what? What's in the water? What's in the water?
I did put dream, comma, water. I'm going to give it 1 point.
I think we got
Now, because we didn't say what Nocturne.
Oh, no,
What is-
that was the
What is the purpose of the corpse lamp? To mask the smell of Shogoth. 2 points. Why was Armitage going to meet with Dorothy Davis to read a play?
Yes.
2 points. What's in the ice house? Gigantic deer. 2 points. What happened to Edmund Castle? He lost both legs and went insane. 1 point. Carl Sanford and or the Order of Silver Twilight. 2 points. So that 10, 13, 15. Hold on. 10, 13, 10, 15, 19, 21, 23, 25, 26, 20, 28. Teenagers was the right answer. So 30 points.
Definitely said teenagers.
Because you're driven insane from taking too much Nocturne, there are no sanity penalties for this investigation. Count up the number of locations you visited that contained a written encounter. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
No, there's one that was definitely not.
Yeah.
One of them that we did was take this. So there's -1. So no. Oh, we know that.
I think we were on like 23.
So it's good.
Deduct 1 point for every location that you visit past 14, so about 10.
Okay. Wait, well, yeah.
Thank you very much.
So that's 21. Also deduct 2 points for each space of time spent beyond the evening day 7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So 21 minus that is another 9 points. So we're at 12.
Wait,
Okay.
what? 2 points per space?
2 points for each space of time beyond.
Yeah. That's 10, right?
Because if, there's 7 times 3 is 28. Actually, it should have been.
It's 10.
We're at 11.
Alright, 11.
I mean 12.
It doesn't matter.
We're at 12.
Final score 16 plus, you win. You think. If you scored 23 or more, we failed. Just because we took too much time.
Whatever.
So if you got 16 points, you either won or you are insane. Good news is you get to decide because you're likely insane. If you scored 23, amazing. You won the game. You're definitely sane. Great feat. Solution.
Yeah.
Solution. I will be eternally grateful for the fact that I was saved from eternal nightmares. Almost as much as I'm grateful you are safe again. Armitage says to you when you are securely ensconced in his office. His wife, Lucy, is with you, freshly bathed and grateful for the return of her husband. Henry Gibson has gone to visit his friend Castle at the Arkham Sanitarium, and Anne Brightman has gone to see her teacher, Thaddeus Conway, and explain what happened to her. The smell of the corpse fire still lingers, although only faintly, as if it were the dream of a sense. The hint of a nightmare. Of course I left the pendant and dreamed of Arkham on purpose, Armitage says, as if he owes you an explanation. Perhaps he does, but you're too relieved by his return to demand it. Alas, I did not know that. Alas, I did not know that on one of my visits to the tree in Miskatonic Park, where Wilma Slocum and I often met to discuss Dream Arkham and hook up, that the jewel had fallen out. I knew that something had come with William Dyer, and I, when we returned from Antarctica last year, I did not know what, although my guess has long been a Shogoth. There's nothing else in Antarctica. Of course it's a Shogoth.
It's always a Shogoth if you're going in Antarctica.
I mean, I guess there's the elder things, but like...
It's always going to be a Shogoth.
Hence my procurement of the protective pendant. My suspicion grew stronger when I heard about the enormous deer hunters were spotting in the woods north of town. It is my understanding that, much to the delight of the Shogoth, I'm sure several of the deer had been killed and were on ice at the ice house. Then I became certain of Shogoth's presence when I saw Anne Brightman's painting during Thaddeus Conway's exhibit. She was having visions, you see, and could only maintain her sanity by expressing those visions in her arts. I discovered the lair of Shogoth in Winston Coyle's old warehouse, and believed my pendant to be... I discovered the lair of the Shogoth in Winston Coyle's old warehouse, and believed my pendant to be whole and sufficient. I confronted the beast, luring it to Dream Arkham. Unfortunately, it was there that I was taken, drawn, and held in their lair where you found me. It seemed like mere minutes before I was joined by Henry Gibson, Anne Brightman, and poor Edmund Castle's cleanly severed legs. We are all confined to Dream Arkham, where our bodies were more susceptible to possession by Eldritch power. I was not sure that anyone would find me trapped in Dream Arkham, and I had to be careful. So, I am ashamed to say that I helped you overdose on Nocturne so that you could solve this one for me. I had no doubt in you, although I did not expect you to go mad here in Waking Arkham. I do apologize for that, deeply. However, I think the Shogoth sealed its own fate by using my memories of you to stage my presence in this very office in an attempt to eliminate you, whom it must have believed to be the biggest threat. I guess it thought it was being clever by masking its horrible stench with Rodney's corpse fire. But alas, it could not account for your wiles.
That's a
Wow. With the pendant discovered, the jewel found, and an incantation its bending performed by the members of the Order of the Silver Twilight, it was only a matter of time before someone came to find us. And as far as I could tell, we had all the time in the world. He goes on and on after that, hypothesizing as to the Shogoth's purpose and plan, and you listen and watch until evening comes. You can't be sure if anything Armitage predicts will prove accurate, but you're satisfied in the knowledge that is indeed your mentor speaking, not some loathsome monster from another world. So Armitage would have solved this investigation by visiting 14 locations where he had seen. These are locations you needed to visit. M11, the West Warehouse.
He went there first?
Wait, where?
I don't know if it's necessarily he went there first.
M11. M11 that was not even correctly marked.
Correct.
The park that doesn't exist in the book.
There was no
Will Coffin, D2, Willem Dyer's house, C12, Armitage's house, U8, Pascal Fenton, L4, Speakeasy, N4, Arkham Sanitarium, D1, Hoyt Administration Building, C25, Thomas Conway's office, C15, Anne Brightman's apartment, N56, Slocum, F45, Miskatonic Park, U68, Order of Silver Twilight with requirement 7-8, U56, and the Old Warehouse, N40. So that was the Faceless expedition. We did it.
That was buggy.
I mean, it was a weird one.
Being able to do it for as long as possible was really nice. But still.
That was good.
Yeah, we did it. Thanks.
We lost.
We didn't, but we did it.
We became insane in the process of.
Yes, I guess we did. So, but we thought we